So Iran is being bombed everywhere, and it looks like its nuke site is going to be bombed probably tonight or soon. And we'll see that anytime Iran tries to strike a ship with a drone or a missile, it's going to be hit by their either their bridges are going to be blown or their power plants are going to be blown. So there's going to be, it's an escalation from the United States. Of course, Iran is trying to bomb more targets. They're getting just hammered across the country. They've talked about how they want to go into Kuwait with their military. That's crazy because they would have to go through Iraq to get to Kuwait, and trying to do that over a desert it would be just like when we bombed the Iraqis military when they tried to escape from Kuwait, just absolutely decimated them. So there's like, please try that. So all of their military that would venture out to do that would be just completely eliminated, right? So air superiority is on the U.S.'s side for the most part. Of course, the hidden drones and missiles and underground facilities that they creep out very quickly and shoot off and then scurry back into underground facilities. That's the only way the IRGC at this moment is being able to survive, through their underground bunkers and sites like that. So the nuclear site that they have is going to be bombed, right? And probably B2s, B1s are going to start bombing it soon. So we're going to talk about that. Trump says the 2020 election steal was a long ago, right? So no, it wasn't that long ago, but it has to be resolved and for us to go forward. So we're going to see that election steal. A lot of information, I believe, is going to come out. Probably arrests are going to start to happen. Now, if we move to the midterms and there's not a pause, or there's not, a resolution where it's going to be a fair elections, which I think that's absolutely impossible at this point. If there's not a pause and it goes forward and we get a blue wave, there will be turmoil in America, right? So we will rise up and we will crush that, right? So hopefully we get that resolved and we can do that over a period of time where, good voting, implementation comes in. Of course, that's going to be fought heavily by the deep state and probably on the level of I don't know, some 9/11 times 10. We've heard that's going to come. It hasn't happened. We heard that there was going to be another, bioweapon attack. That hasn't happened, right? We've been calling all this stuff out. The Operation Blue Beam, we've been calling that out. It hasn't happened. So getting on top of that, through social media sites and so forth, we are the news now, makes a huge difference because they have to be able to capture the public's consciousness through their MK Ultra, Mockingbird media platforms. And if they can start to get that out there, kind of like what they're doing with that stupid, lettuce that's rotten and people are eating it and getting sick. Supposedly it's spreading across the United States. And, we got the ticks that are being dumped everywhere. Now, that's the real thing, because I just heard from a doctor that he has a sister that is very high up in the naval establishment as a doctor or something. And he said that she's at the Naval Academy, I think. And so she said that a lot of them, and she knows of 100 people that have been affected by that little tiny tick. You can barely see, that is infecting people, so they can't eat meat anymore. She knows 100 people. So the East Coast is being riddled, I guess, with this tick. This is a real thing. So there is, these, and he even said that you can't even eat eggs. I was like, what? Chicken, red meat, and even eggs? You can't even eat eggs? So wow, that would be devastating for me, and probably for a lot of other people. So this is a real thing. Screw worms as well. That's right, Jeff, coming across the border. So these bioweapon attacks are happening, and they are affecting people. So you have to be very, very, heads up these days. Be careful on the East Coast, Northeast, going out into the woods right now, because if you're not, covering yourself up completely, long pants, and that's going to be hard to do. The temps are in the hundreds in some of those places, and socks on the outside. Wow, it's like they're keeping us from going into nature. That's crazy. So this is what these crazy people do. Yeah, it's a full-on blitz on a lot of different levels. But we're doing the best that we can to call this out and bring attention to it. So it's crazy. Now Trump is going to go after the deep state, Iranian Nazis, their ways to produce nukes. So let's watch and see what he says.
They may have, we don't have it on record. All we do is read the fake news. We see the news is so wrong so many times. So, maybe this one they have right, but it's okay. It doesn't mean anything unless they have the material. You're talking about the centrifuges. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything unless they have the material. They don't have, we follow the material. That's where the action is. And we'll be hitting that area probably pretty soon. And there's not a thing they can do about it. Normally I wouldn't say that. If I thought they could do something about it, I would never say that. But we'll be hitting that area pretty soon, and very heavily.
All right. So, like he's saying there, normally I wouldn't say that, but we're going to hit that area, and there's really nothing they can do about it. Right? So it's going to get hit, and they're going to blow up their centrifuges that they need to create the bomb. So they have nuke material at levels that they can adjust it up to nuclear bomb material. So we're gonna blow all that up, and it's in this like granite mountain, 100 feet down, but we got some bombs that can penetrate, and so we'll see, what's going to happen. B2s, B1s, I've heard they're ready to go. So the tick bite causing meat allergies is from Lone Star ticks. It causes the mammal meat allergy called alpha-gal. Thank you, Lynn. So that's one of the things. It's called it's from that area, but they're dumping it. There's people are finding bags that have been dropped from the air, and it's full of these ticks. Just like they were releasing mosquitoes that were sterile, and so they were mating with other mosquitoes. So they're supposedly canceling mosquitoes out. So the bioweapon stuff is really something they're very good at. And when I was in the CIA for 11 years and in SEAL teams for 24, they're still going to squeeze some stuff in on us, I think, but they're getting stopped out for a good amount. Yeah, 10 miles under the mountain, rods of God. Yeah, let's bring them out. Rods of God, let's go. So there's lots of I don't know if they're 10 miles down. I haven't heard that, but I've heard I saw that it was like hundreds of feet under the mountain. So 10 miles would be like crazy. That would be almost impossible to get unless you nuke it. So here you see all of the different, this is President Trump says U.S. will strike Iran's pickaxe mountain very soon. So that means probably tonight or tomorrow or something within the next day or two. USI strikes on Iran's Pickaxe Mountains, believed to be an enrichment site. And Trump says U.S. will bomb Pickaxe Mountain. And Trump threatens Iran's Pickaxe Mountain. U.S. rains held at Iran's secret nuclear site. Nuclear explosion, Pickaxe under attack. So I've seen some explosions, but it's, you don't know whether it's actually, because there's all kinds of explosions going on everywhere across Iran right now. And so U.S. B-2 bombers are preparing to punish Iran's Pickaxe Mountain. So it looks like it's on. And then, of course, the B-1 supersonic bomber for Iran's Pickaxe Mountain. So it looks like B-1s and B-2s are going to be deployed to bomb that mountain, Pickaxe Mountain, where their centrifuges are located. So, so is it going to happen tonight? I don't know, but there's some people that are celebrating that it is going to happen tonight. So let's watch. So it sounds like pretty much everybody's ready to get down tonight. I don't know. We'll see. Pickaxe Mountain is going to go bye-bye. All right. Trump says U.S. Lebanon flights can resume, pledges help for that country after meeting its president. Now, I've been to Lebanon, and like I've talked about several times on the show, it is absolutely exquisite area in the Christian side. In the Muslim side, it is a shithole, right? So you have shithole, and then you have like ultra luxury, exquisite beauty side by side. And what has caused that? Well, Hezbollah. So Hezbollah, funded by Iran, has come in and has infiltrated, kind of like what's been happening all around the world. And, we have to clean it up. So President Trump is going to help Lebanon clean out Hezbollah. And I think that's fantastic because I was like, they just need to stand up and push these people out. They're quite a menace. And, you couldn't even walk by their neighborhoods as a white boy like me. And I was, on a missions, but armor. And they're like, they didn't know, of course, but they're like, here's white boy walking by their neighborhood. And they're like, of course, I, have a beard. I don't look completely white boy and kind of dress like the natives. But they would yell and scream at me. And I was like, but I will win. So that needs to happen. And President Trump is going to, I think, start that. Is going to help out the Lebanese and get their extreme Hezbollah problem out of there. Now, this is his meeting with the president. This is fantastic. So this hasn't happened, I think, in 17 years, something. It's been a long time. So this is moving in the right direction.
Be with the president of Lebanon. He's highly respected in his country and actually long beyond his country. We've spoken previously on numerous occasions through representatives, and the relationship is very good. I think that Lebanon has been a very mistreated country for a long period of time. It's an amazing group of people. As you know, there's a Hezbollah problem, but we've done some things that I think the world will take notice. Again, it's been a very badly treated place and country, and we're going to have it properly treated and treated with respect that it deserves. And Mr. President, it's an honor having you. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
I've been looking forward to this visit for a long time.
Thank you.
Meeting such a great president like yourself.
That's a very nice thing. See, he knows how to get to me.
And the people there are amazing people. The Christian side. So they're handsome. The men are handsome, like you see here. Studly, handsome guy. And the women are quite attractive, right? The French influence that has come through is still very much in prominence. The Crusaders, their forts are still there. It's incredible. Very, very magical place. 800,000-year-old cathedrals with bells that ring on Sunday and people coming out. I was there during Christmas one year. Absolutely exquisite decorations. Magical, very magical place. But it is like I said, unfortunately, it has been infiltrated by Hezbollah, and they're trying to take it over. And they've done, unfortunately, a fairly good job of taking paradise and turning it into quite a shithole, right? So President Trump is going to get involved in that. I think Lebanon used to be it was the Paris of the Middle East, guys. French food and so forth, exquisite mountains and the cedars. At one time, I guess you could see the cedars from Lebanon. They could see the pyramids, and from Egypt they could see the cedars up in it was amazing. So that's not the case anymore, right? So there's been a lot of devastation in the world. I think we're going to clean it up on many levels. Now, even Tracy and her family, there's one of her sisters was married to a Lebanese guy at one point. I guess he was Muslim, unfortunately. But her nieces are, very beautiful. They grew up in California. So Dad wanted them to come to Lebanon. So they went to visit in Lebanon. I'm telling the story from as I've heard it. They get there, and Dad wanted to burqa them up. And they're like, nope, we're out. California girls, are you kidding me? So they came back, and of course, they've had some great lives here in America, in California. So beautiful Lebanese women in California. So they've done really well for themselves. So this is something that's going to spread around the world. Beauty and elegance, like you're seeing there in the White House, once again, is coming back for the world, and America is going to lead it. All right, guys, very, very exciting times. Of course, we're going to have to go through some difficult times as well. All right. So breaking, U.S. military launches more strikes. IRGC defies Trump over Strait of Hormuz. So again, they're saying, the Iranians are saying, yeah, the strait is closed. And, we're saying, no, it's not. And in fact, there is a sliver of ships that have been coming through. Now, the way they get these ships through, I guess they have put out there to because over 900 ships have come through since May or something like that. Now, when we announced that the straits were reopened, the U.S. government, the military, the Navy. So what they've done is because there's the threat of occasionally some of these drones and missiles hitting some of these ships, they put out a high price. It's like me when I used to go overseas. I was paid unbelievably well because I was willing to go into combat zones working for the CIA. They paid exceptionally well back then. And so now they're offering some of these crews and captains to take these ships through the Straits of Hormuz, a very, very attractive, I guess, salary if they want to, take those ships and get them through the Straits of Hormuz. So that is happening. They can't, they're trying to say that they have control, but they don't have control anymore. The Navy and the U.S. military has control. All right. So U.S. forces began launching more strikes against Iranian military targets at the commander-in-chief's direction. The mission will continue to further degrade Iran's ability to threaten civilian mariners and commercial vessels transiting the regional waters. And this is from U.S. Central Command, which is in charge of that area, right? Claim. So this is on X. Claim. Today, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, Navy claimed that it controls exit and entry to the Strait of Hormuz, suggesting that international mariners can only use routes the IRG prefers. This is false. Fact. Iran does not control the Strait of Hormuz. The international waterway remains open for transit regardless of IRGC threats and attacks. Commercial vessels continue to use the strait with U.S. military support. Since early May, American forces have helped more than 900 ships transit the strait, right? So fact, right? Kuwait's military said its air defenses were responding to hostile drone attacks. Of course, Kuwait was, raided by Saddam Hussein's military. We came in and basically spanked them hard, and they went running back to Iraq, and we decimated the road of death, right? So hundreds and hundreds of vehicles from Iraqi forces trying to escape were decimated, right? That's what would happen, like I said earlier, if Iran tried to do the same thing, come down into Kuwait. We would not allow that. That would be devastating. And we just would hope they would be that stupid to do that, because it would just make it easy for us to, decimate their military forces. The Kuwaiti army said any explosion sounds heard were caused by air defense systems intercepting the attacks, and urged residents to follow safety instructions issued by authorities. So they're getting much more capable of taking down the drones and missiles. So that's what's happening now over in Yemen. The Houthis attack Saudi tankers in Red Sea as Iran continues targeting ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what President Trump says.
Why is nobody talking about what this retired grid engineer just said? Your smart meter is stacking fake charges on your bill every month.
Folks, I may be putting my life at risk by sharing this, but staying silent isn't an option.
What is your level of concern of a blockade of the Red Sea by the Houthi rebels, opening up another front?
Well, we'll have to see what happens. So far, it hasn't happened, might happen. But we take care of things. If something like that happens, we take care of it. We've done that with the Houthis before, and we haven't heard from them in a while since we did what we did originally. It was about 45 days.
Now, I remember I used to go to Aden. It was just me and one other CIA security guy, and the chief of base and a couple of case officers, and we were very, very low key, right? Because the U.S. military, including special forces, that SEALs and Green Beret, there was a couple guys, and I get to meet them and talk to them. It's pretty good guys. They were telling me about the raid on Bin Laden, so I got some really good insights on that. But a couple of SEAL Team 6 guys were low key there as well, maintaining a base that they had, a secret base. And other than that, it was just us. And then eventually we got more and more people in, and then we had Ground Branch that came in, a bunch of SEAL buddies of mine, and Ground Branch started training the local Yemenis. And there was another base, and then after everybody else started getting groggy, there was another group of SEALs that came in, and we helped them get to another base. So I was on the front of all this stuff. We would come in when everybody ran away, and we would establish things again. I did this in many bases, CIA bases in several countries. So we reestablished ourselves, but then it came a point where I felt that things aren't going to go so well. I have these intuitive abilities, and I kind of warned everybody, you need to be really, really heads up. And then I remember when I flew out I went from Aden up to the capital, and I flew out of the capital. The guy that took me to the airport was telling me that he had a rider, because he was also a cab driver. Not only did he transport us, the special guys from the U.S. State Department to the airport, make sure we got out in time. But he also would transport some other people, I guess, as a taxi driver. He told me that the Houthis were planning to take over the capital and take over the country. And this was years ago, of course. And I relayed that information. So my intuitions were correct. Of course, the Houthis are, were pushed out by the Saudis. And the Saudis were like tired of them and kicked them out. And now they're trying to play games with the Saudis and trying to stop the Saudis from transporting oil. I don't know how this is going to end, but for them, I don't think it's going to end well. But if the U.S. military is going to get involved, like President Trump is talking about, it's going to be very bad for them, right?
It's a very powerful action we took against the Houthis. And we've had no problem with the Houthis. They've had no problem with us for a long period of time, including during this conflict. I think that if there is something like that, we'll just have to take care of business.
You're just going to have to take care of business. So you want to F around and find out. It's up to you guys, all right? But that's the way this is working. Iran has, we tried to deal with them. I think that was stupid. I don't know really what that was about. I think it might have been because we're just trying to get more forces in the area. I don't know. But we're devastating them. At some point, the locals are going to be armed if they haven't already started to be armed. I think they have been by special forces and so forth, and they're going to strike back. So weakening their power and control across Iran right now. Several possibilities I think are going to happen, where we may see the Peshmerga, the Kurds come in from the north, from where they are in Iraq, and so the Iranians are already been hitting them because they must know that that's probably what the plan is. So we're going to probably see something like that, and there's other areas I think are going to be hit. Possibly boots on the ground from the U.S. military. I've said this is going to happen. I've been saying it for a long time, but we'll see. I'm not going to say where, when, or what, but it's the only way that this gets resolved at some point is if we, start to put some boots on the ground. And in a way, I think that's already happened. Special forces, I think, are already there. So that's boots on the ground. I've been seeing it, and I think it's already been happening. All right. So now I said yesterday that it was time. I thought, things can change, of course, that it was time for silver to break out. It already had broken out of a wedge that it was in. So today it went up fairly well. It could be the breakout. We're seeing that the Dixie, the dollar, is heading lower. Is it going to start to go below 101 and 100? I think so, but that remains to be seen. Now, I think everyone is watching the Fed, which meets next week. The Fed is not going to move, and that's going to boost everything. I think everything's going to take off after everybody sees that, because everybody was like all nervous that the Fed was going to raise rates. They're not going to raise rates, right? Our economy here in the U.S. Is transitioning out of the old, control system, and that control system has to collapse so that the new can be built. We're going to see that process start to pick up probably towards the end of the year, I think, after the stock market goes up, and it'll be the last to money chases, what's rising. So we'll see silver and gold go up. We'll see probably crypto make another little bounce before it finally, heads lower. then it will be a buying opportunity. There will be a buying opportunity in residential and commercial real estate. There will be a buying opportunity in stocks that are going to get hammered. So those will be something that will be long term. They'll probably hit a bottom. No one's going to want to touch them. That's when you want to step in. And if you've been listening to me and getting into silver, then you're going to benefit because silver is going to go up pretty significantly, and then gold's going to go up and so forth. The silver miners and gold miners are going to go up. So there's lots of opportunities out there. You pray they drop the rates, Stephanie, and they're not going to drop the rates, not yet. That's not going to happen probably until the stock market starts to crash. So, and that won't be, I don't think, until the latter part of this year or early part of the next year. But I could be wrong. So I'm not an investment professional. I'm just an intuitive guy that gets things right quite often. So it's up to you guys. Make your own decisions, use your own intuition. I know a lot of you guys have gotten into silver, and you're going to probably do really well. All right, so that's that. Silver, gold, everything's up. Little slight pullback right now. Will it be more of a pullback? I don't know, but I think it's broken out. It'll be up and down, up and down, up and down. Now, let's go into the bullshit that's going on out there with these former high-profile truthers, media professionals, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson. There's some other channels out there. They got a lot of views from us over the years, which going forward should not get any views, but it is what it is. You have to make your own decisions as well on that. I've called out a lot of people over the years, and it takes time for them to be revealed. And during that time frame, you hate on me because I say the people you love are baddies, and you're like still believe in them until you don't. And then when you find out, you never say, you were right, Mike. You're just like, oh, they're bad. And then you go on with your life and start. Hopefully you will continue to watch the one that gives you the real truth. And that's moi. All right. House passes NDAA with Israeli takeover provision. Bill now goes to Senate. Now, this is Alex Jones. Alex Jones is full of it, right? You need to stop watching him because he's spreading lies and disinformation. So here he is, coup alert. Netanyahu brags. He wrote Section 224 that hands control of the Pentagon to Israel. It does not say that at all. He's basically conflagrating something into something that is not in existence. So here it is right here. I am heartened. This is Netanyahu. I am heartened by your enthusiastic support of our plan to develop a new memorandum of understanding with the United States government that will draw, keywords here, that will draw down U.S. financial military assistance. That sounds pretty good to me. That doesn't sound like we're handing Israel our military. Okay. That sounds like we're reaching an agreement where we won't have to pay them our money, our tax money, and so forth. We're going to reach an agreement where we're going to share technology, which will benefit both of our militaries, and that will be the payment. You know, this because the Israelis have some really high tech stuff, guys, and they're reaching some. Of course, they have to have high tech because that's the way they survive in the Middle East. They know that. So they're pushing the envelope on high tech. And we've seen them bomb the hell out of everybody that gives them shit, like Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran. They have been a great proxy for us to take down the deep state actors in that area. So it goes on to say, U.S. assistance over the next decade and replace it. So replacing the monetary support that we give them, we'll replace it with what you refer to as a new framework of joint defense cooperation, co-development, co-production, and mutual investment in areas including advanced missile defense, which everybody will benefit from, our allies, us included, artificial intelligence, unmanned systems, drones, so forth, even jets and drone. I mean, we call them drones, but some of these are going to evolve into jets. And I said this decades ago, where I said that we're going to see this type of technology take over and we won't need pilots anymore. So we're moving into that cybersecurity and next generation military platforms. Did you hear in there where the U.S. military is going to give over the U.S. military to Israel? No. So what the hell is Alex Jones talking about? He's talking bullshit, right? He's trying to like spin everybody up like he's been doing. So here's some more spin doctoring from Thomas Massey, who fortunately is not going to be a congressman in the future from Kentucky.
First of all, the NDAA stands for the National Defense Authorization Act, and it's one of the few bills that passes every year. I've been here 14 years. There have been 14 NDAAs. So you can set your clock.
Yes, that's right, Thomas Massey, because we make sure that we do this every year. You're not disclosing anything. Those of us in the military know that it has to be every year that they do these bills, and the writing has to be very good. Now, he's going to blow it up too. I mean, I guess he goes on to Alex Jones and, they say, oh, how can we tear down, the Trump administration destroying the deep state? Because obviously they're part of it. Obviously, they're part of the deep state, guys.
On the fact that this bill will pass. So anything that gets in it is, dangerous as a cocked gun. It's going to become law. Well, this bill is 100.
See how this clown town just conflates it into something that is not even there? It's like a cocked gun. Like what? It's a writing for make sure that our military is taken care of in a good way. You, Congressman, have not been taking care of all of the bills. You've been letting a lot of that money go out and be illegally taken, and so now we have like a debt that's like $20 trillion. The amount of payment for the debt is more than we pay for military spending. Like it's $1.4 trillion, and servicing a $20 trillion debt is more than what we spend on the national defense, guys. And this clown was part of that.
It's pages long. And, in one of those hundreds of pages, it's actually 5 pages long, is section 219. And it was section 224, but it's now section 219. And it calls for the integration of our military technology and the supply chains that produce our, high-tech military equipment to be integrated with Israel's. Now, we don't have this kind of, bilateral agreement with any other country in the world, and I would argue that we shouldn't, in order to protect our sovereignty and to protect our national secrets. If you wanted to share one thing at a time, let's say, we wanted to collaborate on missile defense systems, I think that's fine. The president can do.
Oh, so yeah, it's fine if we just do one thing, but multiple things, that's not good. Conflating, he's a conflation bullshit artist. So happy that this clown town is going bye-bye, right? And maybe we should get him for some treason charges somewhere in there. I don't know. We should look a little bit more carefully at this boy. All right, so this is bullshit. He and Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, several others are just trying to tear down President Trump like there's some kind of connection with the Israeli military, which is going to be very bad for us. Yes, we have to be very careful that that doesn't happen. But this is making sure that, you know, we're not throwing away our money like these guys did for years and years and years, and we're doing it in a way that we're going to benefit not only Israel, but their technology is going to benefit us as well, right? On a massive level. So they're out on the front lines, you know, fighting Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran right now. So we want them to be strong, right? Because they're doing the dirty work for us on many occasions, guys. And some of the stuff that they're putting out there, where all these people were being killed, a lot of that stuff is bullshit, right? A lot of the stuff is bullshit. I've seen it. I've seen the military put out when I was in Iraq as a contractor doing security protective work and so forth, where they put out to all of us that if you see people in white shalwar kameez, shoot them on sight. And I'm like, what? This is the kind of bullshit that comes down from some of these people, guys. And this guy right here is one of those bullshit artists. Of course, we blew that off. All right. So we have to like start to look past the morons like this. The morons like, I mean, Alex Jones used to be a great guy, but I guess, you know, somebody's funding him and puppeting him and telling him to say bullshit. So be careful what you pay attention to, because I saw, like right here, Thomas Massey gives final warning about NDAA provision that merges U.S. military with Israel. That's bullshit. Nowhere in their writing does it say that. So here, typical white person says, I don't have the time to watch this right now. So people just look at headlines and they formulate their thinking and they get bullshitted. So a lot of people are going to look at that headline that he and Alex Jones are pushing out there, and who knows who else is going to push this bullshit. And they're going to go, oh, the U.S. military is going to be taken over by the Israel. Stupid. Not ever going to happen. So he goes on to say, and I support Israel's right to exist. Good. And I consider them an ally. Good. But assuming this headline is accurate without doing investigative work and looking, he's going to assume now. So at least he's assuming, he's not completely looks at the headlines and it comes from Thomas Massey. Oh, I like Thomas Massey. It must be true. No, right? There is no way we should be merging militaries with anyone. That's right. And we're not going to merge military. We're merging information that will benefit the U.S. taxpayer, because we're not going to pay them all this money to turn around and buy our military equipment. We're going to like develop military equipment with them so that we defeat the enemies, theirs and ours. We're allies with them. We're going to help defeat the enemies of everyone in the Middle East. And then everyone's going to get with the Abrahamic Accords, and there's going to be peace and prosperity for all. But first, you got to get rid of the people that are going to prevent that. They're going to blow up all the economic development that's going to happen throughout that area. So don't listen to these idiots, guys. I've said this, but there's still people that still believe Thomas Massey is a good guy. He is not. Absolutely a puppet boy. All right. And almost everybody in Kentucky is. What happened to Kentucky? Come on, Kentuckians. Right. Pull your asses out of your, you know what, or pull your heads out of your asses, out of your, you know what. So National Defense Authorization Act sets the annual budget and spending policies for the U.S. Department of Defense. It changes every year, of course, because we are in conflicts and wars and so forth. So it has to be reassessed every year. Every year. Sometimes it, like when I was into SEAL teams and I was in operations and in charge of a lot of funding and so forth, I would they like for us to cut corners, and I was like, okay, we'll cut corners here, we'll cut corners there. We're not. I would be one of the guys because when I was downrange, they were cutting corners on us, and I was like, so I make sure the bullshit cutting corners wouldn't happen. But when I was budgeting at the end of the year, we had tons of money. Instead of like just, saying, oh, we got this, we didn't spend that much. And they would say, oh, thanks a lot. So I guess you don't need that much next year. Like, they're like, F that. So I would like go out and I'd buy all these, Gucci robots that we'd use for shooting and all kind of crazy stuff, and weapon systems. And I wouldn't just let them, I would do really good with the funding, and then we would take that money and just like, all right, let's get the good stuff. The military is so corrupt, guys. It is crazy. So you have to have good people like myself that used to be in the military, but most of the time you're not. There will be guys that are completely clueless, and shit's going to get, spent, and sent to areas where it doesn't need to be, and all kind of crazy stuff. All right, so funding happens. NDAAs, the National Defense Authorization Act, can also include secret law in the form of classified addenda, and some specific, and that would be like special forces, submarines that we would have, and aircraft we'd have, and a lot of stuff I can't tell you, but I can tell you that if it was special forces, it was good. All right. Some of these other programs, not so much. Right. But who's watching all that? I would like, and I can't go over when I was in the CIA, I was like, there's some bad people over there doing some bad stuff, but I can't say anything because I'm in my own little box. They're in their box, and we can't, and they use, top secret and all that stuff, non-disclosure agreements, and so that they can get away with stealing our money and, using it in evil ways and so forth. So there are good people out there that are making this stuff happen. Thomas Massey is not one of them. All right. And don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Actually let it, let me help it slam you out, and I'll give you a nice kick on the way as well. So we need good people in Congress and the Senate. I don't think we're going to get them. All right. We've got a few that are probably going to move forward, but for the most part, this system has been undermined on a massive level. Even people that we think may be good are probably not so much. All right. So we need to stop this election, this midterm, guys. It needs to happen. And I pray that President Trump does that. If he doesn't, and those blue idiots get control, vote a bunch of people in, select a bunch of people in through their illegal voting processes. We're not going to put up with that, because that will be the end of America. That will be the end of America, right? So we're not going to let that happen. That beast system is going to go bye-bye. That's right. 7 Rick Rack Rock. So that's the future. And people like Thomas Massey, eventually we will see them. More of you will see him for what he is. And we all know already that a lot of these people are very bad, very evil, and they can't go forward. They can't have any position of power going forward. It's complete bullshit, right? And they have to be taken down. They have to be removed. Good people put in positions, and then it has to happen across the country, from people that are in the educational system, all the way up to city council members and mayors and governors, and on and on and on and on. So they have to be replaced if they're evil, and we know who they are. And if they don't get replaced, then we're going to replace them, right? It's going to happen one way or the other, and that way it's not going to be pretty. All right, guys, stay in the love vibration, and let's get down tonight. Get down tonight, baby. Get down, get down, get down, get down, get down tonight.
Restored Republic via GCR update. Judy note, since the first industrial revolution American history has been shaped, manipulated and controlled by a very small, but powerful Jewish family called the Rothschild who ruled the U.S. through use of the Illuminati deep state cabal and ancient secret societies like the 13 Illuminati bloodline families, Rockefellers, Freemasons, Rosicrucian, Skull and Bones, Bilderberg, Council of Foreign Relations, Committee of 300, Club of Rome, United Nations and World Economic Forum at Davos, Switzerland. Most in America think they have the protection of the Constitution and freedom to use constitutional law. Under constitutional law, allegiance is owed to the laws of a sovereign government and natives are both subjects and citizens. However, in reality America has been ruled from 1783 to this day by the British Crown and Rothschild under international maritime admiralty law. This was symbolized by gold fringe, symbolic of royalty, which was attached to the border of every U.S. flag hanging in every courtroom across America. Under admiralty law, the citizens of the U.S. are considered the property of the British Crown and cannot use precepts of the U.S. Constitution, 1873, to defend themselves because they are not a party to it. America is a British colony ruled by the privately owned U.S. corporation, not the landmass that existed before the Revolutionary War. The Treaty of 1783 declared independence from Great Britain, but identified the King/Queen of England as the Prince of the United States. The U.S. Supreme Court is overseen by the Rothschild Corporation's U.S. Incorporated in Washington, D.C. that functions under admiralty law. Unrealized by the common person was that the most powerful court in America was not the United States Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, the original capital of the United States of America. There have not been any judges in America since 1789. There have only been administrators who rule over codes, rules, regulations, policy and statutes, which were not the law but have been used in courts to project authority through admiralty law. Restored republics, reality of the U.S. court system, we're under maritime law, not constitutional law. Summary of the real history of the United States, Part 1 of 4, Ellis Washington Report. As with everything in politics, the problems all boil down to money, and who held the purse strings. Pedophile Rothschild were the head of the deep state Illuminati cabal that controlled the U.S. and world monetary system. Their history goes way back to the beginning of world finances. It has been said that in 1861 President Lincoln and a group of his Pentagon generals formed a worldwide military alliance operation to take back control of the U.S. and global monetary system by eliminating the Satan-worshipping Rothschild and deep state cabal Illuminati that ran it. Lincoln had tried to create a national banking system that functioned away from the deep state cabal foreign bankers who took over the U.S. monetary system because they held debts of the Civil War. That move appeared to lead to the deep state's success in assassinating him. By the JFK presidency, this deep state shadow government was comprised of a few Pentagon officials, some CIA operatives and corrupt government officials. On the other hand, the Pentagon military group originally formed by Lincoln had grown to be a large group of patriots both inside and outside of the U.S. military. President Kennedy was determined to take down this deep state's privately owned Federal Reserve and had announced such to the public, though this time the U.S. president had backup. Long before his 1963 Dallas shooting, JFK knew they were going to assassinate him for trying to take away their money supply and control over the U.S. tax system. Recently released classified documents prove that President JFK's death was elaborately faked through use of a clone. Video footage from 1963 appears to show Secret Service agents being ordered to stand down just moments before President John F. Kennedy's motorcade entered Dealey Plaza, leading to visible frustration and confusion on their faces. The controversial order left fewer personnel immediately available as the procession turned onto Elm Street, right before the shots rang out. The Illuminati cabal power over the people continued. Executive Order 12,333 signed in 1981, authorized this deep state shadow government to monitor, track and eliminate American citizens deemed threats to national security. Beginning with President Obama in 2014 and until 2026 when Trump eliminated the program, this shadow government monitored 847,000 American citizens, arrested 12,847 citizens without due process, detained 3,247 citizens in classified facilities and executed 847 citizens without trial, erasing all records of their existence. The shadow network was composed of Pentagon officials, CIA operatives and government officials including the Director of National Intelligence, Deputy Director of the CIA and Commander of the United States Special Operations Command, Navy, Army Air Force SOCOM. Meanwhile the group of Pentagon generals, along with other patriots, continued their quest to free Americans and people of the world from the deep state rule of both our monetary and legal systems. By November 2015 they had succeeded in getting Trump elected to the U.S. presidency, by undoing election fraud that the deep state had set up in certain key states. His mandate was to restore the republic under the original concepts of the Constitution and supporting a global currency reset of world currencies that traded at a one-to-one with each other. As U.S. President, Trump was also Commander-in-Chief of the military. In the first months of his presidency he made a trip around the globe to meet with world leaders, where he formed the global military alliance of 209 nations to take down the deep state. Just prior to November 2020 President Trump instigated the Insurrection Act and turned over control of the country to the U.S. military. He knew the election would be fraudulent and wanted to catch the cabal in the act. With Trump remaining Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. military, an interim military U.S. government has been running our country ever since. The two U.S. governments, 1, a legitimate interim military U.S. government empowered by the Constitution and the Department of Defense under Military Code 11.3, and, 2, an illegal, fraudulent foreign paid-for, foreign-controlled, on the foreign ground of the District of Columbia, Biden administration. The powerful authority of the deep state was recently exposed by a classified military intelligence officer who sent the Trump administration his resignation letter. Mr. Poole on X, a classified military intelligence officer, just sent us his resignation letter. He worked inside a classified facility for 27 years. He discovered a shadow government operation. He tried to expose it. He was hunted. He was silenced. He escaped. He is now safe. He is now. The whistleblower had worked inside a classified facility for 27 years, where he discovered this deep state shadow government operation. When he tried to expose it, he was hunted down and silenced, though was able to escape. He was now safe and speaking out. This was his resignation letter. To the Director of National Intelligence. Effective immediately, I resign. I have spent 27 years as Senior Intelligence Officer at Facility 7, a classified military installation located 847 miles underground beneath the Nevada desert. I cannot reveal the exact location. I cannot reveal the exact coordinates. But I can tell you, Facility 7 is not on any map. It is not in any official government records. It does not exist. Except it does. And I worked there for 27 years. I am writing this letter because I cannot carry the weight of what I know for one more day. In 2014, I was promoted to Director of Operations at Facility 7. My assignment, oversee a classified program called Operation Nightfall. Operation Nightfall was not a military operation. It was not a defense program. It was a shadow government program designed to monitor, track, and eliminate American citizens deemed threats to national security. The program was authorized by Executive Order 12333, signed in 1981. It has been operating continuously for 45 years. Between 2014 and 2026, Operation Nightfall monitored 847,000 American citizens, arrested 12,847 citizens without due process, detained 3,247 citizens in classified facilities, executed 847 citizens without trial, erased all records of their existence. I have the documentation. I have the names. I have the execution orders. I have the death certificates signed by officials who no longer exist. The program was run by a shadow network of Pentagon officials, CIA operatives, and government officials. The network had a name, the Council. The Council consisted of Director of National Intelligence, classified name, Deputy Director of CIA, classified name, Commander of SOCOM, classified name, 12 additional military and intelligence officials. The Council met monthly at Facility 7. They reviewed execution orders. They approved new targets. They authorized new operations. I attended every meeting. I documented everything. In March 2024, I was assigned to execute Operation Nightfall Final. The assignment, eliminate 847 American citizens deemed irreversible threats to national security. The targets were, 247 journalists who have discovered classified information, 312 activists who had exposed government crimes, 178 whistleblowers who had threatened to go public, 110 ordinary citizens who had asked too many questions. I was ordered to execute them. I refused. Share this. Demand accountability. Demand the truth. A. What we thought we knew, but didn't really know and now are supposed to know but don't have a clue. With clones, doubles, made-up movies Hollywood style and Trump's military alliance throwing more popcorn at us, it gets so confusing. Monday, July 20, 2026, we have been under a worldwide military operation since 2017. This operation started way back in 1861 with Lincoln. It just shows you how huge and deep the cabal, Illuminati and the elites networks were all around the world. We are near the end. And soon the entire world will know the truth. Monday, July 20, 2026, JFK knew and set a clone in play, Oswald Patsy. It's simple. Q knew evil forces were planning to kill JFK long before the Dallas shooting. 2s. July 21, 2026, Aaron Brockovich on data centers. You are pushing people too far at this point. You're taking their water. Their air is jeopardized. Their land is jeopardized. Their sanctuary is jeopardized. Their wildlife is jeopardized. The trees, the rivers, the creeks, the birds, all of it. Carolyn Bessette Kennedy on Telegram. The FBI staged January 6 5 months before it even happened and concealed it from the President of the United States, the U.S. Congress, including AG William Barr and others. A memo shows the FBI conducted a secret January 6 tabletop exercise in the summer of 2020, embedding 274 undercover agents and informants and rehearsing post-January 6 mass prosecutions of Americans 5 months before it even occurred. Christopher Wray will go down as the most corrupt FBI director in U.S. history. He has outdone James Comey, John Brennan, and James Clapper combined. 2s. July 21, 2026, New York Mayor Mamdani blatantly lies. He refuses to allow the NYPD to cooperate with ICE on immigration enforcement, and New York State refuses to honor ICE detainers, even for illegal aliens who commit the most heinous crimes. B. Possible timing. On Thursday, July 16, 2026, the quantum financial system went live worldwide. Every major bank connected. Old fiat system dead. GCR gold-backed currencies of 209 nations igniting. Nizar Jazara debt jubilee implemented. St. Germain Trust of 890 trillion activated for the people. Constitutional Republic restored July 4. U.S. Incorporated dissolved. See Global Currency Reset. At exactly 2 o'clock UTC on Monday, July 20, 2026, the SWIFT protocol clearance keys were permanently overridden. The transition to the ISO 20022 Quantum Financial System (QFS) standard entered its non-reversible execution phase. 2s. July 21, 2026, the global currency reset to gold/asset-backed currencies worldwide is happening right now. Those foreign currency and ZIM bond holders in Tier 4B, us, the Internet Group, watch for emails from Wells Fargo that will tell you how to set up your foreign currency exchange/ZIM bond redemption appointments. 2s. July 21, 2026, Bruce, the big call. Today a contact said that our Tier 4B, us, the Internet Group, notification to set redemption appointments will come in 48 hours, or Thursday 23rd of July. He also said that the new currency rates will be on the Forex on Wednesday 22nd of July, and reflected on redemption center screens on Thursday 23rd of July. At exactly 2 o'clock UTC on Monday, July 20, 2026, the SWIFT protocol clearance keys were permanently overridden. The transition to the ISO 20022 Quantum Financial System (QFS) standard entered its non-reversible execution phase. Here is the unedited, verified inside telemetry straight from the Tier 4B operational hubs. The revaluation matrix is live on core screens. The treasury screens inside secure liquidation vaults are displaying internal asset-backed adjustments. The revalued currency rates, led by the primary resource-backed baskets including the Iraqi dinar and sovereign ZIM bonds, are locked behind quantum encrypted firewalls. The fiat paper illusion printed out of thin air is officially dead equity. We the people, sovereign direct access under the strict mandates of the restored constitutional governance and Nizar/Jazara legal structures. Bank intermediaries no longer own or control your capital. Every QFS verified account is 100% direct access by the account holder alone. No federal tax confiscation, No unconstitutional debt holds, no institutional freezing. The Tier 4B notification window. The encrypted SafeLink algorithms are primed for deployment. The appointment slots for private exchange and humanitarian project funding are fully structured under high-security alliance protection. Standard sovereign holdings, instantly credited onto digital asset ledgers backed one-to-one by gold and physical commodities, humanitarian project lead holdings, accessing specialized asset allocation tiers to fund immediate local infrastructure, free energy, and community rebuilding. Look at your local commercial bank interface. Look at the unprecedented, synchronized limitations on large fiat paper withdrawals worldwide. They cannot generate fractional reserve debt anymore because the master ledger requires 100% physical metal backing for every single transaction code. The power has been permanently stripped from the private elites and handed directly back to we the people. Check your secure devices. Organize your project documentation. Keep your financial parameters completely quiet. The old world is out of money. The sovereign era is fully operational tonight. 2s. July 21, 2026. Amsterdam child trafficking, Dutch force 17 on X. Everyone, and I mean every citizen, should be speaking out. God's children, the time for excuses is over. Black exclamation mark emoji. Now is the time for action. Now is the time to rise up. Military is the only way. Cross swords emoji. Cross swords emoji. What brings you to the battlefield? Black question mark emoji. Are you here for the fame? Black question mark emoji. 2s. July 21, 2026, Edison Research has confirmed that states using Dominion voting systems switched 435,000 votes from Trump to Biden in the 2020 election. In addition, Dominion deleted 2.7 million Trump votes nationwide that included over 1 million Pennsylvania votes switched from President Trump to Biden. July 21, 2026, Tom Homan just got emotional about violence against ICE, then stormed off from the press. I can't even get a carton of milk at a grocery store without a security detail. Why? Because I'm enforcing laws. It's pathetic and it's disgusting. Guys, ICE agents are moms and dads too. It's not just an attack on the ICE agents, it's an attack on their spouses and children. No one knows that better than me. 2s. July 21, 2026. Now, Democrats are shocked after stunning new data finds that under President Trump and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, Washington, D.C. homicides have crashed -39%, arson -100%, motor vehicle theft -53%, sex abuse -7%, and all crime -20%, all because the prior U.S. attorney let 67% of arrests go unprosecuted. That is a big win for law and order. McEnany, down 39%, sex abuse 7%, robbery 18%, overall, crime down 20%. That is just during your tenure. How did you do this? Pirro, when the president made a decision, he is totally focused. He brought in federal law enforcement to assist the Metropolitan Police Department. And I came in and started really prosecuting crime. My predecessor refused to prosecute 67% of the arrest. I mean, think about it. That is lunacy. I refuse to prosecute maybe 4 or 5% because the cases are not solid or they need more work. But the truth is that when you have consequences for crime and those numbers don't really reflect the truth, quoted history during a significant period of the surge. H2s. July 21, 2026. Here is some of the intelligence the CIA had detailing how China tried to defeat President Trump, paid U.S. journalists to write more negative stories about President Trump. We need names, inflicted negative financial consequences against states who voted for President Trump by levying tariffs on exports to China. Invited all sorts of people with all expense-paid trips to China to get them hooked on China so they could later hit them in the wallet to force them to talk with President Trump about tariffs. Applied pressure to financial supporters of President Trump's re-election campaign. I2s. 21 July 2026. Newly hidden FBI documents released by FBI Director Kash Patel confirm that the FBI staged the January 6 demonstration 5 months before it happened. The FBI staged January 6 5 months before it even happened and concealed it from the President of the United States, the U.S. Congress, including AG William Barr and others. A memo shows the FBI conducted a secret January 6 tabletop exercise in the summer of 2020, embedding 274 undercover agents and informants and rehearsing post-January 6 mass prosecutions of Americans 5 months before it even occurred. King Solomon reporting, The FBI's Boston office ran a secret tabletop exercise in August 2020. It included embedded informants, 274 undercover FBI agents, and even planned mass prosecutions, including for minor offenses, the very same tactics later used against January 6 defendants. This was no intelligence failure, it was a premeditated conspiracy by Democrats to suppress evidence of crimes committed during the overthrow on November 3, 2020. In other words, Christopher Wray will go down as the most corrupt FBI director in U.S. history. He has outdone James Comey, John Brennan, and James Clapper combined. Why do you think the Biden-Harris administration, a terrorist administration, kept him on board? By the way, the January 6 committee was a cover-up for the cover-up. Every single one of them should be hunted down, placed on the FBI most wanted list, and await trial for the crime of sedition. Why do you think they were granted pardons? On Tuesday, July 21, 2026, the quantum financial system will be unveiled in a worldwide broadcast that's securely transmitted via the quantum communication network. The fundamentals of this system, as well as the concrete actions that any citizen can take to start utilizing it, will be revealed. A. What we thought we knew, but didn't really know and now are supposed to know but don't have a clue. With clones, doubles, made-up movies Hollywood style and Trump's military alliance throwing more popcorn at us, it gets so confusing. Monday, July 20, 2026. After years of being lied to and gaslit by the mainstream media, voting companies, and crooked politicians, voting systems were always connected to the internet and not air-gapped, with IP addresses confirming foreign servers were sending and receiving data to these machines during the 2020 election. Not only did the machines have internet access, they were bought and came standard with foreign-made 3G/4G modems already installed in the machines, with remote wireless backdoor access to manipulate the vote count in real time. Oil is abiotic. It is a liquid mineral cooked deep in the Earth's mantle under crushing pressure and scorching heat. If people knew oil is basically tap water for the planet, endlessly generated from below, the entire parasitic geopolitics of wars, sanctions, and price manipulation would evaporate overnight. 75 entry-level driving schools are now under investigation for fraud. 24,000 drivers who can't speak English were already taken off the roads, and 4 states had to cancel 28,000 licenses issued illegally. 9,500 schools have already been canceled from the Federal Registry. Thousands of unqualified trucking schools have already been taken off the Federal Registry, but Homeland Security and the Department of Transportation are working to do even more. Be possible timing. On Thursday, July 16, 2026, the quantum financial system went live worldwide. Every major bank connected. Old fiat system dead. GCR gold-backed currencies of 209 nations igniting. Nizar and Jazar debt jubilee implemented. St. Germain Trust of 890 trillion activated for the people. Constitutional Republic restored July 4. U.S. Incorporated dissolved. On Monday, July 20, 2026, temporary martial law at maximum alert. EBS preparing decoded pages within hours. 10 days of communication darkness imminent. Military forces positioning for global shutdown protocols. Large-scale arrest operations approaching. Hillary Clinton scheduled Tuesday, July 28, 2026 for crimes against humanity and children. See Global Currency Reset. On Thursday, July 16, 2026, the quantum financial system went live worldwide. Every major bank connected. Old fiat system dead. GCR gold-backed currencies of 209 nations igniting. Nizar and Jazar debt jubilee implemented. St. Germain Trust of 890 trillion activated for the people. Constitutional Republic restored July 4. U.S. Incorporated dissolved. Monday, July 20, 2026. Boom. Abolish the IRS trends after Trump exposes tax system. Foreign countries control our politicians. Monday, July 20, 2026. Martial law. On Tuesday, July 21, 2026. The world will see what was previously kept under wraps. The quantum financial system's formal public unveiling. In a worldwide broadcast that is securely transmitted via the quantum communication network, the fundamentals of this system, as well as the concrete actions that any citizen can take to start utilizing it, will be revealed. The quantum network operates on real-time synchronized quantum nodes that are impervious to manipulation, interference, and surveillance. No current supercomputer can crack the level of security provided by quantum encryption, which secures every transaction, account, and asset. This is financial sovereignty for everyone, not just the wealthy. You'll discover how to get into your biometric assigned account. You will observe how rainbow tokens work in this system as actual, gold-backed value. You will comprehend the reasons behind the phase-out of every antiquated technique, including fiat money, third-party processors, and credit networks. Tomorrow's demonstration will feature real-time, secure, and instantaneous international transfers that are carried out without the need for banks, apps, or approval delays. Humanitarian initiatives will be funded in a matter of seconds. Blocked assets will be reactivated and redirected to the individuals. Most significantly, you will witness how corruption at its source is prevented from affecting your identity, wealth, and future. This is the culmination of everything. The Alliance has been dismantling the system from within for years, removing layers of control and deceit. The replacement is now prepared, not as a substitute, but as the only practical option for the future. There won't be any going back after tomorrow. This is the end of the days of financial slavery, hidden taxes, and weaponized inflation. Pay close attention. Everything will be exposed by the light. You can never unsee the truth once you've seen it. Not in theory, but in practice, the quantum era has arrived. It's not just a reveal tomorrow. It is the start of your involvement in a system designed for the people, freedom, and truth. Early Monday morning, July 20, 2026 at exactly 3 o'clock EST, Protocol 19 entered its final, non-reversible completion phase. The Black Swan event was kinetic. Protocol 19 has been fully completed. The federal liquidation was terminal, Tier 4B ISO 200. The Federal Reserve System has officially lost its primary administrative routing certificates, and the legacy paper matrix has run out of broadcast range. The Global White Hat Alliance has finalized the hard override, and the operational logs for the next 48 hours are locked into the live backend. Chapter 1: The System Flips. Protocol 19 has triggered the absolute migration of global monetary routing. The legacy SWIFT network data hubs in Brussels and New York have been permanently decoupled from the primary ledger lines. The entire baseline architecture has transitioned to the Quantum Financial System, QFS, where every single transaction pool, international settlement, and corporate clearance is forced to execute through clean, digital asset-backed channels. Chapter 2: The Golden Standards Activation. The era of speculative, print-on-demand fiat paper is dead. The US dollar and euro corporate illusions are hitting an absolute wall. Under the strict enforcement of the new global economic protocols, every currency digital asset line must be anchored directly to verified, audited physical precious metals. The unbacked, synthetic liabilities that the cabal use to manipulate energy and housing sector assets in real time. Chapter 3: The Media Spectrum Decapitation. The Mockingbird media synchronization is breaking in broad daylight. As the financial infrastructure of the old elite collapses, their private funding lines for the major media cartels are hitting absolute zero. Decentralized truth networks via secure Starlink quantum encryption relays are already spreading across the global bandwidth, completely bypassing the corporate gatekeepers and preparing the public grade for the unsealed military tribunal disclosures. Pay close attention to the sudden, unannounced early bank branch closures and restricted digital access notices at major commercial banking institutions in your area today. They cannot generate paper debt to balance their sheets anymore, and their private authority keys have been permanently revoked. They designed the matrix to make you believe their financial iron curtain was indestructible. But the master switch has been flipped from the inside, the validation metrics are live, and the old world has officially run out of air. The reset is going kinetic. The sovereign era is fully live. The baseline shift was running on live banking clearing nodes right now. While the corporate financial channels are desperately trying to cover up the sudden administrative outages across major commercial branches with routine server maintenance notices, the raw ledger telemetry shows the truth. The private central banking cartel has been legally and physically severed from individual wealth management. On Monday, July 20, 2026 at exactly 2 o'clock UTC, the SWIFT protocol clearance keys were permanently overridden. The transition to the ISO 20022 Quantum Financial System, QFS, standard entered its non-reversible execution phase. Here is the unedited, verified inside telemetry straight from the Tier 4B operational hubs. The revaluation matrix is live on core screens. The treasury screens inside secure liquidation vaults are displaying internal asset-backed adjustments. The revalued currency rates, led by the primary resource-backed baskets including the Iraqi dinar and sovereign Zim bonds, are locked behind quantum encrypted firewalls. The fiat paper illusion printed out of thin air is officially dead equity. We the people, sovereign direct access under the strict mandates of the restored constitutional governance and Nizara/Jazara legal structures, bank intermediaries no longer own or control your capital. Every QFS verified account is 100% direct access by the account holder alone. No federal tax confiscation, no unconstitutional debt holds, no institutional freezing. The Tier 4B notification window. The encrypted SafeLink algorithms are primed for deployment. The appointment slots for private exchange and humanitarian project funding are fully structured under high-security alliance protection. Standard sovereign holdings, instantly credited onto digital asset ledgers backed one-to-one by gold and physical commodities, humanitarian project lead holdings, accessing specialized asset allocation tiers to fund immediate local infrastructure, free energy, and community rebuilding. Look at your local commercial bank interface. Look at the unprecedented, synchronized limitations on large fiat paper withdrawals worldwide. They cannot generate fractional reserve debt anymore because the master ledger requires 100% physical metal backing for every single transaction code. The power has been permanently stripped from the private elites and handed directly back to we the people. Check your secure devices. Organize your project documentation. Keep your financial parameters completely quiet. The old world is out of money. The sovereign era is fully operational tonight. Monday, July 20, 2026, Iran just hit Kuwait's power grid. Iran just attacked Bahrain. Israel claims Netanyahu's arrest is imminent. And somewhere in a classified bunker, someone just activated a contingency protocol. A protocol called Global Lockdown. A military strategist from Pentagon's War Games Division revealed, Iran attacks on Kuwait, Bahrain aren't random. Coordinated with Israel collapse. Netanyahu arrest destabilizes. Perfect moment for lockdown card. Lockdown protocol ready for years. Pandemic 2.0. Economic collapse. Martial law. Deep state waiting. They tried 2020. Trying again now. Trump knows. Military knows. We've been watching. When they move, we counter. When they'll lock down, we unlock. Iran escalation is real but distraction. While world watches, deep state moves pieces. Activating protocols. Preparing lockdown. Netanyahu arrest isn't justice. It's destabilization. Creating chaos for lockdown. We see it. We're stopping it. Why now? Evidence overwhelming. Lockdown protocol documented. Deep state plans exposed. Move now or they execute. Trump authorized military countermeasures. Not Iran retaliation. Counter-ops against deep state. Against lockdown machinery. Iran escalation is cover. Netanyahu chaos is cover. Underneath, dismantling lockdown apparatus. Destroying their ability. When public, people understand. Not about conflict. About preventing enslavement. Stopping final takeover. What's coming? More exposure. More evidence. Lockdown was planned. Chaos orchestrated. Deep state ready for control. Military moving. Trump moving. Evidence compiled. Truth prepared for a release. Lockdown protocol exposed. World wakes. People understand. One crisis from permanent control. Everything changes. Operation Unlock activated Phase 1, Evidence Gathering complete Phase 2, Deep State Exposure live, Iran Chaos cover, Phase 3, Lockdown Protocol Destruction July 20 to August 5, Phase 4, Truth Release August 6 to 31st. The lockdown isn't happening. The deep state is falling. The control grid is being destroyed. Trump authorized it. The military is executing it. Freedom is real. The world isn't locking down. The world is waking up. Everything changes. Operation Code, Unlock 7719 status, active target, global lockdown apparatus. Friday, July 17, 2026. The metrics for the planetary reset are running live. The sudden, unprecedented data sync drops hitting international administration hubs today, Friday, July 17, 2026, are not technical failures. The global apparatus is entering the primary activation sequence. The operational strategy is mapped directly onto the verified 3-day Bay of Pigs defense protocol, immediately triggering the subsequent 10-day full-spectrum shutdown of the legacy grid. The military EBS is fully primed for direct, uncensored broadcast to all TV and radio frequencies worldwide. Simultaneously, the old corporate government structures are being systematically stood down to make way for the definitive Jazara blockchain elections. The future administrative model will be exactly 10% the size of the current matrix, run entirely by uncorrupted, vetted sovereigns. The entire planet is transitioning into the quantum Jazara baseline. We are witnessing the absolute, non-reversible shift, quantum financial system, QFS, quantum voting system, QVS, quantum healing matrix, quantum internet framework. The old infrastructure is being completely erased. The legacy internet network, built under Operation Mockingbird to control human consciousness, is hitting a terminal wall. No more Microsoft dominance. No more corporate media monopolies. The entire digital field is being rebooted through secure Starlink nodes. The private intelligence networks used by the old establishment to weaponize society are being permanently disassembled as we speak. The Mossad, Five Eyes, and CIA architectures have lost their cryptographic master access. Moving forward, the only validated network on the planet will be military intelligence operating under alliance directives. The baseline of the new economy is locked into the metal-backed rainbow treasury notes and the internationally regulated, Goldstandard ISO 20022 USA coins. The Moab, mother of all bombs, is no longer a kinetic threat, it is the synchronized execution of the global currency reset, the return of the precious metal standard, the full deployment of quantum Jazara, and the absolute declassification of everything on Earth. Look closely at the irregular technical groundings and the sudden system freezes across international sectors tonight. The old world is losing its broadcast range. The restoration is fully live. We started at the East London Family Courts back in August 2025, after receiving our paperwork written in quantum grammar. The judge wanted the backing of the higher courts and was then moved up to the Royal Courts of Justice. We have had 4 judges, all running from our case due to the facts she has been proven to be kidnapped. They have sent the case back now down to the lower courts back to the original judge which has already been proven to be acting ultra-vires, bias, and corrupt. The 3 judges at the Royal Courts of Justice didn't want to take the case on but are complicit now as they have evidence of the crime and have failed to perform aiding and abetting to the criminal activity, and leaving us to suffer the torture longer. All the evidence plus, the evidence file called the Stolen Girl stands unrebutted and therefore stands as fact in law. Maxim in law states those that don't rebut agree all agree my daughter has been stolen, yet no one will stand up as a judge in their fiduciary paid positions and end this torture. The social workers are devious and been proven time and time again to be liars, yet the judges are prepaid to finish the job on taking my daughter and have turned a blind eye to every single lie stated in court. The social workers set up a meeting for us to speak with our daughter for the first time in 11 months, they stated they had prepared my daughter to speak with us. They lied to us and Alana as she was totally shocked to see us on the webcam and from the shock she run off crying saying sorry she loved us but couldn't talk as it was obviously very painful for her. She was very distressed so it's obvious they have been saying all sorts of wickedness to her in the last year of her captivity. Since this day a month ago, they have stopped any contact saying Alana is not ready, to cause as much trauma as possible. We have had a 2-minute call in a year that has been the only contact on a video call. They will now lie further to say Alana doesn't want to come home when we know for a fact she does. She has been clearly lied to and manipulated whilst waiting for us to come and rescue her. My daughter is clearly suffering which is very traumatic for us all. We have also contacted the Admiralty Marshal and are now working on the 3rd court and 5th judge to get our story heard and our evidence seen. We are desperately trying to get our daughter sent home. I will be here on the 24th again fighting for my daughter if they don't vacate and adjourn again like they have every other court date. We would appreciate any help from the White Hats, FBI, U.S. Marshals, as we are currently up against lawless agents in the UK that hold a position of authority and the keys to my daughter's freedom. All parties involved are completely guilty of misconduct in public office, kidnap, piracy, privateering and RICO. We have currently been shut off from any support from the people or anyone in a high enough position to do anything. For those that like to stay informed, my Patreon site is still active although much more sabotaged than ever. Sunday, July 19, 2026, James Clapper invokes Obama's name as savior of humanity as JAG hangs him for treason at Gitmo. Monday, July 20, 2026, Iran nuclear facility about to bomb U.S., destroyed by U.S., Iran thought 2,000 feet of granite protected Fordo. Then America unleashed this. Monday, July 20, 2026, breaking special report. Trump's election bombshell and the Rubio-Besant shadow government exposure, the empire's war on builders. Monday, July 20, 2026 bombshell alert, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent orders massive bank audits by IRS in $18 billion Minnesota welfare laundering scandal. Monday, July 20, 2026 top Intel operatives face Judgment Day, DOJ launches grand jury to crush Obama, Clinton and Russiagate traitors in history's biggest political coup case. Julian Assange, ISIS is funded by Saudi Arabia and Qatar. This is the most significant email in the whole collection. The government of Saudi and the government of Qatar that has been funding ISIS. Under Hillary Clinton and Clinton emails revealed. The largest ever arms deals in the world was made in Saudi Arabia, more than $80 billion. In fact, during her tenure as Secretary of State, total arms exports from the United States in terms of the dollar value doubled. In other words, during Hillary Clinton's time as Secretary of Bribery, the Obama's State Department approved massive arms sales, particularly to Saudi Arabia. The result was the rise of terrorist groups like ISIS, funded largely by the very people who were bribing the Clinton Foundation. In short, and the destruction were, in large part, due to Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. Monday, July 20, 2026 Fox News, Borders are Tom Homan claims ICE agents under siege from leftist hate, but delivered record results. Borders are calling it like it is. Agents facing 9,000% threat spike, vehicle attacks, rhetoric turning families into targets. Dems and media vilifying them daily as Nazis and secret police while they enforce the laws they passed. Yet ICE is smashing records, historic June arrests, 40% plus increase, removing criminals and threats. Prioritizing public safety despite 100 plus injunctions and shutdown sabotage. Homan, I have their six. Real Americans stand with our ICE heroes, moms, dads, patriots keeping us safe. Enough with the hate that endangers lives. Back the blue, and ICE. Deportations continue. America first. Monday, July 20, 2026 The Obama files are worse than we thought. His lawyers didn't show up to negotiate. Here's what Bondi's team found inside the Tehran servers under Obama's codename, Renegade. 14 wire transfers to a Swiss account linked to Hezbollah between 2014 to 2016. Total, $1.7 billion. The same $1.7 billion he told Congress was frozen Iranian assets, a signed directive authorizing the CIA to stand down during the Benghazi attack. Not typed. Handwritten. Communications with Epstein's handler, dated March 2015, discussing the island arrangement and the Chicago package. A backchannel to Tehran through Valerie Jarrett, active from 2012 to 2024. Yes. 2024. 2 years after he left office. He didn't just betray America. He was running a shadow government from his basement in D.C. while pretending to be retired. His lawyers are now offering full cooperation in exchange for immunity. Trump said no. No deals. No mercy. No escape. The man who divided America for 8 years is about to face the America he tried to destroy. And she's awake. Monday, July 20, 2026 They have been lying to you about oil for 150 years. Oil is not rare. It is not made from dead dinosaurs. It is the second most common liquid on Earth after water, and it is literally the planet's lifeblood. The entire fossil fuel scam was invented by the Rockefellers and the Smithsonian in the late 1800s to create artificial scarcity and jack up prices to insane levels. They fed you the biotic lie so you would believe oil is some finite dinosaur soup that is about to run dry. Total fabrication. Oil is abiotic. It is a liquid mineral cooked deep in the Earth's mantle under crushing pressure and scorching heat. It is the natural lubricant for tectonic plates and the grease that keeps the planet's massive gears turning smoothly. That is why wells drilled dry in the 1970s are filling back up again today. The Earth is pumping fresh oil from below and regenerating it non-stop. It does not run out. We are sucking the lubricant out of the planet's engine, and now the whole machine is starting to shake. More earthquakes. Creaking faults. Grinding plates. Coincidence? No. We are stripping the oil that keeps the Earth's crust sliding properly, and the system is literally seizing up. The so-called fossil theory is the greatest economic hack in human history. Real crude oil has almost zero biological markers. No nitrogen, no phosphorus, nothing that would survive. It is pure polymeric hydrocarbons, primordial stuff from the Earth's own formation. Thomas Gold tried to warn the world. He proved hydrocarbons like methane and oil rise from the deep mantle, not from ancient swamps. The establishment destroyed his reputation because the truth would collapse their entire control grid. If people knew oil is basically tap water for the planet, endlessly generated from below, the entire parasitic geopolitics of wars, sanctions, and price manipulation would evaporate overnight. They do not want you to know the earth makes its own oil. They need you scared, dependent, and paying through the nose while they bleed the planet dry. Wake up! The dinosaurs had nothing to do with it. This is the biggest lie they ever sold us. And Monday, July 20, 2026, DHS is aggressively targeting CDL truck driving schools who fraudulently give licenses to foreigners and illegal aliens that end up killing Americans. Good. Shut them all down. President Trump is also moving to replace illegals with veterans in the truck driver workforce. 75 entry-level driving schools are now under investigation for fraud. 24,000 drivers who can't speak English were already taken off the roads, and 4 states had to cancel 28,000 licenses issued illegally. 9,500 schools have already been canceled from the Federal Registry. Thousands of unqualified trucking schools have already been taken off the Federal Registry, but Homeland Security and the Department of Transportation are working to do even more. The 2 federal agencies are announcing a collaboration to enforce rules and regulations at trucking schools all across the country. Sunday, July 19, 2026, Fox News breaking: Deep State desperation exposed. They tried to kill President Trump mid-flight. On July 9, 2026, as Trump departed Turkey aboard the brand new Qatari-donated Boeing 747-8, his future Air Force One, the Deep State launched a cowardly cyber strike from Langley, Virginia. They targeted the plane's electronic controls in a blatant assassination attempt. But Trump, always 10 steps ahead, switched to the older Air Force One at the last second. What the fake news called a routine security precaution was actually a brilliant trap. This was the beginning of the Great Purification. Encrypted comms intercepted. Traitors scrambling. Nick journalists hit with emergency subpoenas because they had obituaries and air disaster stories pre-written and ready to publish. They were waiting for the crash. They failed. Again. Trump just exposed the entire rat nest. The storm is here. Justice is coming. Sunday, July 19, 2026, they've been stealing elections for at least 15 to 20 years, not just here in the United States, but around the world. Now they're exposed and running out of options. In the Georgia 2020 election at the State Farm Arena, we have them on video pulling out hidden suitcases full of ballots that were separate from all of the other ballots and running the same stacks of ballots through machines all throughout the night, with no observers present, which is completely illegal. After they stopped the count, lied to observers, telling everyone they're going home. Members of our own government, the CIA, DHS, CISA, the EAC, all knew these machines and companies were compromised, but cleared them anyway for use in U.S. elections. That alone should tell you how deep and corrupt the system really is and what we're truly up against. Sunday, July 19, 2026, unclassified and unredacted files pending release, Julian Assange, the 17th letter, on Telegram. Monday, July 20, 2026, a former NSA election security director just went public. Trump's declassification revealed everything. The vulnerabilities were worse than anyone imagined. He contacted us through an encrypted channel 48 hours ago. His identity has been verified by 3 independent cybersecurity experts. He worked in NSA's Election Security Division 2016 to 2024. He calls it the silent breach. His words. Unedited, foreign actors penetrated our election infrastructure for 8 years. Real-time breaches. We did nothing. In 2016, I documented 47 vulnerabilities in 12 states. They said, this stays classified. By 2018, Chinese intelligence accessed voter databases in 7 states. We knew. We did nothing. By 2020, evidence of foreign interference in 19 states. Logs. Timestamps. Everything. I told my director we must go public. He said, it destroys confidence. We can't allow that. So they classified it. They buried it. They silenced me. In 8 years, I witnessed, black small square emoji, 127 confirmed foreign intrusion attempts into election infrastructure, black small square emoji, 34 successful penetrations of voter registration systems, black small square emoji, 19 states with documented vulnerabilities, black small square emoji, 0 public disclosures, black small square emoji, 0 accountability, Millions voted in systems we knew were compromised. Foreign actors had access. We could have fixed it. I couldn't sleep. For 8 years. Why he's talking now? Trump's declassification changed everything. The documents are coming out. The vulnerabilities are being exposed. The truth cannot be hidden anymore. I have 8 years of documentation. I have the intrusion logs. I have the foreign IP addresses. I have the names of officials who covered this up. I have the proof that this was known and ignored. I am ready to testify. Under oath. Before Congress. Before the American people. 127 foreign intrusion attempts. 34 successful breaches. 19 compromised states. 0 accountability. That's not national security. That's treason. His final message, to every American who voted, your vote might have been compromised. I'm sorry. We knew. We did nothing. To every election official who was kept in the dark, you were lied to. The vulnerabilities existed. Your superiors knew. To the people who silenced me, the truth is coming. And you cannot stop it. Operation Election Truth activated, Phase 1, Declassification Live, Phase 2, Public Exposure July 21st to 25th, Phase 3, Accountability August 1st. The documents are being released. The vulnerabilities are being exposed. The cover-up is ending. Trump declassified it. The NSA tried to hide it. But the truth is coming out. Share this. Wake them up. Demand accountability. The election security cover-up is finished. July 20, 2026, someone from the cabal's BlackRock called Musk and had him take down medbeds are real tweet, Tier 4 BISO 200. The next morning, Tesla stock dropped 4.7% in pre-market trading. No news. No announcement. Just a message, stay in line. Why BlackRock? BlackRock manages $10.5 trillion in assets. They are the largest single shareholder in Black Small Square Emoji, Pfizer, 7.2% ownership, Black Small Square Emoji, Johnson & Johnson, 8.1% ownership, Black Small Square Emoji, Moderna, 6.8% ownership, Black Small Square Emoji, United Health Group, 7.4% ownership, Black Small Square Emoji, Abbott Laboratories, 8.3% ownership. BlackRock does not just invest in pharmaceutical companies. BlackRock is the pharmaceutical industry. They own it. They control it. They protect it. When Musk tweeted medbeds are real, he threatened $10.5 trillion in managed assets. He threatened the retirement funds of 35 million Americans that BlackRock has tied directly to pharmaceutical stock performance. They didn't call to ask him to delete it. They called to tell him what would happen if he didn't. The pattern: this was not the first time. Black Small Square Emoji, 2019, Musk tweeted free energy is suppressed technology. Deleted within 4 minutes. Black Small Square Emoji, 2020, Musk tweeted the FDA does not exist to protect you. Deleted within 9 minutes.
Will the U.S. have an election pause? I and many other people have said it. Juan O'Savin is saying it. I said on the show last night, and talked about a lot of stuff that's possible. Some explosive potential because the deep state does not like to have their elections taken from them. That they steal. They steal them. That they feel that that's their prerogative, and how dare we take away that prerogative? So I see there's 17 viewers right now. That's perfect tie-in to last night after the show. We stopped at a time where it was we pretty much had to stop because we're losing signal, so we kind of signed off. Now look at that number right there, 107 and 17 Q. How about that? Right. It's like when God is like with you and he shows you little signs like that, you're like, all right, I guess we're on track. So, and yes, we are definitely on track as far as the information that we're putting out. Now, I have a team that puts out shorts, and they put out a pretty quick short from that show that we did. So let me share this little quick short that's over on all my social media.
I will reiterate
it is obvious what I've said several times. We are missing some nukes globally. It appears that some materials needed to refresh. A handful of those nukes did get made, assembled, and deployed. So there is a sum of all fears moment that we're in. Which city is the one that, if they want to make a demonstration, prove how powerful they are, like a James Bond movie or a Our Man Flint, whose city is it that you're willing to sacrifice in this game of chicken with nukes?
The places where probably nukes would be, I think, in unfortunately Democrat-held cities, because they would have ability to move around and set those up, because of the Democrat cities have allowed for the illegal immigration.
Trump wants to be remembered as the president who brought peace in this modern time. So he's out addressing all of these conflicts over the world and trying to essentially make it bad business sense to be fighting and good business sense to figure out a reason to work together. And Trump keeps reiterating that he wants that nuclear dust back. That is the material that got shipped out of America under Obama and made its way through Russia and down to Iran. And so Trump is very adamant that we want that back. He's not going to back off. He's not going to let that material sit out there and be a threat to the whole world. Whoever wants to be in power has to agree to give us that back. If they don't give us that material back, then war's not over.
So this is real, what Juan is talking about, something that we knew when I was in the CIA, that there were some loose nukes out there, right?
Arrests and tribunals are coming, but they're not quite yet. So deep breaths.
All right. So the rest and the tribunals are coming. And when you look at the planetary alignment, I did a show, or not a show, but a get together with Meg Moonbeam. She's amazing. Probably one of the best. I think she's the best astrologer I've ever worked with. I've worked with some really good ones. There's really good ones out there, but I like her style. She's very intuitive, and she gave me a really great reading. And so we talked a little bit. Hopefully we'll have her on the show, and she'll go deep on our end. You guys need to meet her if you haven't seen her shows yet. But she's talking about an explosive possibility, and she's also talking about arrest. So the same thing that Juan and I were talking about, she's on board with it, with the planetary alignments and so forth. Now, when you look at planetary alignments, of course, we've been dumbed down in a lot of religious institutions to think that it's evil to do horoscopes and all that kind of stuff. Well, all the elite do it. Right, so they don't want us to have it, and that's the way they worked it. So that's something that's always been used, and at one time, all the people knew that horoscopes and the planetary alignments and so forth were very valuable. So we're going to try and bring that back, or I am, so that you guys can see the value of that. Now, the other aspect that that I and other people are looking at is that possibility of a nuke out there, right? So, like I said in that little clip that you saw there on our show yesterday, where Juan was kind of like in and out a couple times, so I just carried on the show. When I was in the CIA, when I was in the SEAL Team 6 and so forth, we knew there were loose nukes out there. So nukes had gotten bought out, or somebody had stolen them, from the collapse of Soviet Union. Probably some deep state bubbas in the United States military let them slip out as well. We've had, I think on purpose, we have had some nuclear submarines that have gone down, gone missing, and so forth for a period of time. There is the possibility that some of the nukes on those submarines were taken, right? So, not a possibility. Some of them were, right? So some people in the know. And so we've been putting out for a little while now that, we've had our nuke sniffers over the United States for a long time looking for all that stuff, guys, because it's embedded out there somewhere. And they had the material to, put that stuff together and then light it off, right? So when they light it off, and which I believe is one of the things they will do, is light one of those nukes off in the Cascadia are the one of the fault zones, right? And there's some serious ones in the East Coast. There's one, and the West Coast, of course, everybody knows about those. But I think from my experience that there's going to be, and from my remote viewing, that there will be some serious problems on the West Coast. Right. So a lot of people have predicted this over the years. It just hasn't happened. The reason I think that it hasn't happened is so more people could ascend, reach consciousness level to ascend. But we're going to see a good portion of the world, I think, not go forward. A very, very significant numbers. All right. So that's something. We'll see how that works out going forward. Timelines, are shifting all over the place. Consciousness can have an effect on everything that's out there. And we both talked about how it's difficult to predict into the future because of the timelines. There's so many different timelines out there, and people are jumping timelines, and there's like timeline wars going on. That's crazy. For the most part, I think that we won the timeline wars, the good guys, and I don't think we really have to worry too much about that. Everything's a possibility, though, so you never know. All right, so we'll see. I believe, and timeline going into the future, going into the past, and changing things. A lot of stuff has been stopped because you might remember we used to have the Mandela effect quite a bit. Especially when I was growing up. The Mandela effect is basically something, and a group of people know something happened a certain way, and then time goes by, and it's like I thought it happened like that, and then there's something completely different. All right, so that's the timeline wars that were going on. Like I said, pretty much those have been taken care of. We're not going to have that effect anymore. Of course, space program and all that kind of stuff. All that technology will come forward. The capability to wormhole and literally create, which they're trying to do. These where you see those CERN was going to create energy where you see the Ferris wheels, so like a portal. So they're trying to create portals in most of the major cities. They have a Ferris wheel in London. All right, why? Yeah, so they could have a portal, and they're creating 3 big ones in Miami. So these portals are in a lot of major cities all over the world right now, and are these Ferris wheels, not portals yet. They haven't been able to do that, but in the secret space program, that is one of the things that they can happen. Dimensional movements and so forth. That's how some of these ships go visible, because you just go to a different dimension, right? So that's a lot of it's outside the realm of most people's conscious. Kind of, some people are they like it now, because we could talk about secret space program 10 years ago when I started, probably about 15 years ago now, when I started connecting with it and talking about it. I remember as a kid we talked about aliens and spacecraft. Everybody was seeing them at one time, and then it kind of faded away, and now it's back again. Now it's back into everybody's reality to a certain extent. But there are other things that aren't, right? And that's okay. You don't have to believe in any of that stuff. You're still going to live your life. You're still going to go forward. So I think it's more like if you go to, I don't know, you're the guy that works on your car, right? He's like, I got to do this, and I take my car in. It's like it's due for maintenance, and I got to notice on my little information thing that's on my car. And it's like, you have 1,500 miles before you need next service, and I'm like, I'll schedule it and go down, and they do their thing. They change the vents and filters and parts that need to be changed for that time frame. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I don't know how to. I wouldn't know probably half of what they're doing. I just take it in. They take care of it. Could I, be a mechanic? Yeah, I could, but I don't. It's. I don't need that to go forward in life. So like some of the stuff that I share, some of you guys don't understand, but I'm a mechanic, blowing stuff up and shooting and jump out of planes and all that kind of stuff. I'm a mechanic. I'm an expert, so some of the other stuff that I do, remote viewing, into past lives and all that stuff, I'm a mechanic. I'm an expert. Some of you guys don't understand that. It doesn't matter. I bring you the results of what I see, and you benefit from it. So you don't have to agree with it. You don't understand it. A lot of stuff you guys agree with when I did a couple shows the other day about past life stuff and how it's relating to, it's tying into what's going on now. Some people were all angry about it. I was like, it's like that's like taking your car into the mechanic and going, this is bullshit. I shouldn't have to have any work done on my car. It's like, okay. It shouldn't even be a thing. Well, maybe at some point we'll have flying cars and we don't have that kind of stuff. But at this point, you need mechanics, you need engineers, you need doctors, you need nurses, you need, teachers and all kind of crazy stuff. That's the way society is. But some people are like, let's get rid of the police and let's get rid of jails and anyone can come across the border. That's crazy, right? Crazy talk. So we're trying to clean all that up. And part of that is going to be some of their arrest. So Meg Moonbeam and I agree that there's going to be arrests, and the planetary alignment makes that it's going to happen soon. And so you're like, planetary alignments, what's that bullshit? That bullshit is energy. That shit is basically if I come and poke you in the eye, you're going to be like, oh, that's. But I don't have to do that. I could just look at you and start to make your eye hurt. Right? So, and you're like, that's bullshit. And I would do it and you would feel it. And then you go, oh, wow. Yeah, because it's energy. So some people can send it and so can planets. So when planets come in, if you've ever been out, if you ever worked in, I've talked about this over and over again, if you ever worked in a bar, if you've ever been in fire department or a police or medical, anything, the full moon shit happens. All right. It's crazy time. So these energies have an effect. So we're in a cradle of energy from the planets right now. Is that going to be a positive? Yeah, for those of us that are positive. For those that are negative, it's not going to work out so good. Right? So you're going to we're speeding up. Consciousness is speed up. Remember how everything used to be real slow? And it's like, oh, I miss the slow life. I don't. I like being able to manifest like now, right? Some people should not have that capability because they're angry and they're brutal and they're subhuman. So as we're speeding up, we're raising the vibrational frequencies. And like I've talked about in The Intuitive Warrior, my book, and The Awakening of a Warrior, those vibrational frequencies, when you raise them, those types of people, because you can do it consciously, which I talk about doing, you can cause things to happen for the negative group. They start to crack, everything cracks for them. People show up and shoot them or blow them up. So they're really, really bad. So that's coming. That's coming because the planetary alignments right now are in a position where that type of stuff, justice for evil is here. It's here right now, right? And it's going to be here for a little bit, right? So we talked about that. She's got courses. I'm doing her courses, and I had a reading from her today, and it was really good. So I talk about this stuff. Other people talk about this stuff. They're tapped into it. All of you, whether you want to believe you're a mechanic or not, you're all tapped into it. You can deny it if you want, but denying sets you up for failure. All right. So we want all of you to win. You don't have to be a past life reader or anything like that, but just be aware that there are energies, frequencies, and so forth that you can tap into. So I'm aligned really good with that. All right, that's why I'm able to do all that stuff. When I was born, the planetary alignments and all that stuff, I'm aligned to do that, and some of you are as well. Like Meg is. She was born in a family. There was a lot of people, not everybody, but there was several people that were aligned that way. I was born into a family where there were a few, very few. My great grandmother and my aunt, one of my aunts, was very intuitive, very tapped in, and they knew that I was too, but I didn't know it yet. Right? But now I do. So once you know, you can really grow and do some really good stuff. All right, so that's the lecture for today. So here we go. Meg Moonbeam. Like I said, hopefully we will have her on the show coming up. We talked about it, so hopefully we'll make it happen. Now her husband Jens, he's a pretty sharp guy too. So both these guys are really tapped in. They just moved to Alberta, and she talks about how Alberta, Canada, is going to be part of the United States, right? So this is going to be something that the people will bring about. And why is that? Because of planetary alignment. All right, the vibrational frequencies are setting all this stuff up. So incredible. So the most positive alignment, an explosive U.S. prediction. So again, this is there going to be some type of nuke, and it's going to be blamed on Iran, right, or somebody else. I think it's in the works, guys. All right. Now a lot of people are like, and I'm kind of agreement to a certain extent, but I know that things can change. That we're not going to have an open nuclear blast. I don't think we're going to, but it could happen on, like I said, for activating a fault, San Andreas Fault or Cascadia. I think Cascadia is going to go. I've seen it. I've been seeing it for a little bit. All right, so it's going to happen. Unfortunately, we're in the time frame where earth changes happen. All right, and we're getting energy coming from the sun. Everything's lining up for it planetarily. The sun activity, everything. So this is if you're tapped in, you're going to be fine. If you're not, you might not work. It might not work out so good for you. But who knows? Maybe some of you guys are in California. Maybe you'll survive and help other people. That's why you're still there. I don't know, but we'll see. Now, President Trump. Now, I predicted when President Trump in his first term, before his first term, that halfway through his term or a little bit more, that he would get sick, and he may not make it, but I thought that he would. I said it was like 60-40 that he's going to make it. All right. I don't know why he goes through this, but I see another 60-40. Unfortunately, President Trump may be going bye-bye. All right. None of us want to hear this. Maybe there are things that are set up for that would keep that going. Kind of like who's that Kentucky guy that we've all forgotten about? That senator. Remember him? Right. And he was like, disappeared for a long time, for weeks. And I brought it up. And I was like, yeah, that guy in Kentucky, McConnell, Glitch Mitch, where is he? And everybody started talking about it, and they're like, yeah, it's not good, and they should replace him. Well, they're not going to, because this is a war against the deep state, and if they announce his death or that he's unfit, then they would replace him probably with a Democrat, which would make things more difficult for us going forward. So I think that probably around August 2nd, when they can't, do anything about it, they're like, oh, look, he was doing so well. So I don't know, maybe, maybe they didn't walk out with a clone. So I'm like, okay, so I guess they're not going to do that. They took an AI picture of him and his wife. That was like a non-starter for most of us. But you know, there's that stuff that goes on. We saw it with Joe Biden, right? And I think that Kamala's gone, and not gone. You know, you know, Newsom, is he gone? I think so. I think some of these people have been replaced already, guys. So that doesn't mean everybody is. Some people are like, you know, they're all gone. I was like, no, they're not all gone. We still have some people in the fight, and we have to work together to take them out. All right, so now look at this video, and it could be just another, you know, CGI thing, but it kind of makes you think. Let's look at this.
The internet's going crazy over a video where Trump is speaking to the press, and then it looks like another Trump's in the background. Take a minute to check the video out. Does that look like another Donald Trump to you? Are we in like some dystopian nightmare? The internet.
So I've seen, I don't know, a 5'10" Donald Trump, right? A few times that looks like 30 years younger. There's so many different ones, guys. And you know, to discount it and to blow it off, that's not being realistic. So you have to know that this has been done throughout time, body doubles and so forth. You know, the king doesn't want to go out. You know, he's, you know, had a hard night, whatever. He was with all his mistresses, or, you know, room to room, whatever they do. And it's transsexual. You know, a man that went to a woman. So yeah, he's all over that stuff. I've been saying it for years. I was like, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, and I can't believe that South Carolinians don't see this. Right? So it is what it is. Maybe selected too. So, but you know, he's gone. And will we find out about his past? Probably not. They're probably going to hide it and cover it up because his sister is going to like take over for him now, and she's going to run for that position. Wow. So this is something that's interesting. So running for that position. Now, when will those elections be held? Now, I think we need to go through at least another year. And when will President Trump announce this? I think he's going to be, or whoever, President Trump, somebody. So whoever is going to announce this is going to announce it, I think, closer to the election, so that all of those bad people, Democrats, that are you know, setting themselves up to cheat, we can see all that. Right? We've already seen it in California, right? And I don't know, is that going to get turned around? I think it is. I think you know, Greg Abbott, I think he was selected. I don't think he was selected by the deep state. I don't think he was selected by his electoral. And if the electoral had a better choice, because somebody in one of my chats is like, we don't have any other option. We know he's a piece of shit, but we don't have any other option. I was like, I see that. You know, as far as like somebody can get in, you do have really good options there in Texas, but they're suppressed. So everyone that could be, you know, in a position of leadership that would do really, really well. I've had some of them on my shows. All right. And if they had half a chance, people would be like, that's the one we want, not this clown town. All right. So I think we're going to have a year. I think we're going to have a year to do it right. And all of the people that have been pre-selected, like Greg Abbott, and you know, who's going to win the positions in California? You know, we're just going to be all stop. That's not going to happen, guys. You're cheating out in the open. You know, you got to cheat because you know we're going to, like, you know, replace all the people that you have put in position, so you can have all your fraud, your trillions of dollars of fraud all the way across the country, and put people in positions of power where you're going to knock us down to a third world country and back into the Stone Age. No, we're not going to do that. Right. So that's coming, I believe. All right. So we're going to see that probably transpire, I would say, closer to the actual election. So it can play out. So, we can go, oh, you're not going to pass the SAVE Act. And, Postmaster General now has, they're going through each state and saying the Postmaster General has to see all of your electoral, numbers, everyone that's on your voting vote, that's vote eligible, to send them an app to send them, mail-in ballot. Otherwise, they're not going to get one. That's right. That's happened. So some states are like fighting it, and judges are going, "There's no fight here. You have to let the Postmaster General see your voting rolls, and that's the only way, one for one. You're not going to have, your illegal voters that you've stolen taxpayer money from to support, so that you could, have these names on a legal voter." And like Juan said in my show yesterday, he said that there were, or was it Juan? It might have been somebody else. So many people that are like revealing now, but there was like 8 million illegal voters in California, and they divvy them up to all the other states so they could have, enough states that would, put Biden over. we know, his basement Joe did not win that election. He won the election even more than that Hitler newbie, the new Hitler, Obama. He had crazy numbers of voters, and Biden had more. And he would go out to do a promo show, and like 10 people would show up, and Trump would do one. I went to several of them, and there were cars and people lined up for miles that were trying to get in. They couldn't get in because there was like 100, 200,000 people at an airport in Nevada. It was like where he landed in his jet, and I came out, and it was amazing. And then when we left, it took us a long time to get there. It took us a long time to get out because there were so many people there. The roads were jammed. It was amazing. So we voted President Trump in 2020, but they stole it. So we know they're stealing these elections now, and more people are figuring it out. We knew it back in 2020. Everybody was revealing, and the press was like covering up, and the safest, best election ever, and they keep repeating that, and then the sheep will just hear something over and over again. They're like, "Oh yes, the best election ever," and so then it takes like years to un-f them, right? So that's the process we've been in. So that's happening, and then 70-80% of Americans are like, yeah, we want people to show up with a ID and they're legal resident. So, and then Congress did, but the Senate won't like vote it in. So we're seeing all the fraud. So we're getting to the point where President Trump's going to go, yeah, we're just going to pause this, clean this up, and because we got a bunch of knuckleheads. And so my question is, if we pause it and we don't get other people in there that will vote correctly, how's that going to make any difference? I guess they have a plan for that. I don't know. Maybe, Mitch McConnell's gone and somebody's going to replace him. And we have, all these other, maybe some more people are going to start to like fall down, go bye-bye. I don't know. So that's kind of where we're looking, I think. More and more people are going to be put in positions that are going to make it easier for them to pass that at some point. So that's probably where we're going to go. So I don't know. You never know how these things are going to work because they're not going to reveal them. And even guys like me that can sometimes guess it or remote view it, I'm not going to reveal it sometimes because I know that they need to keep that secret. So I have that background to, okay, we need to wait on this. But some way, somehow, this is what's going to happen. And, so in the meantime, you just have to enjoy the show to a certain extent. It doesn't mean that you don't get involved, but you enjoy the white hats taking down the black hats, right? And you guys that don't believe we went to the moon, I know you don't like this, but we did go. And now I'm going to get a lot of like whiners. You don't believe that? Okay, that's fine. I believe we did. Right. So, and everybody has their argument about that, and that's fine. All right. So now some people are going to have the argument that we should win this Iran war, and then some people are going to be like, we shouldn't be there at all. And so for me, I believe that we should be there and we should win this. For me, this is the Trojan War 2.0, and it's got to be won. I mean, not by the Greeks, I guess, but by the U.S. The U.S. is, I have Greek background, right? I'm Italian. I have Italian. Mostly, I'm a Scandinavian and Welsh and Irish. And so, and actually a little bit of black. I can dance, right? So can't jump that well, but I can. I got the dancing gene from the black side, so that's cool. And Scottish. So Scottish is the most prominent, and Scottish are the fighters, and I am quite the fighter, right? So Greek, which place? I don't know. It's in my DNA. I don't know which area of Greek my DNA came from, and who does. So I mean, maybe. I mean, if your mom was like from Athens, it could be, I'm an Athens Greek. So, who knows where she came from? If you have a Greek mom, who knows where her descendants came from? So it's lots of stuff. I'm a mutt. I just have a lot of everything. So it's time to finish the job, I believe, and that's what we're going to see. So this is some of the things that have to get done, but you're going to see whining and gnashing of teeth and people saying that we shouldn't be there and so forth. But there are quite a few of us that believe that we should, and we're doing the right thing. Like Monkey Works, if I can get him to play again. So let's see if I can load it. Reload.
The wallet. Okay.
There we go.
So, all right. Trump says the U.S. will strike Iran power plants and bridges next week. So that would be, we're now at the next week. Okay. He said that before we had 4 service members killed. We had 3 that got killed in Jordan and 1 in Iraq. And I have not seen a significant U.S. response since that time. So I'm hoping and praying that the next big strike that we are supposedly going to do against Iran, that we don't call off the dogs, that we hit them so hard they don't know what day of the week it is. That's what I'm hoping. I think you take out everything. And oh, by the way, if you can't take out the Mahan Air, who is basically going and getting all the components and the missiles and everything they need from China via flight every single day of the week, and have been since we started the ceasefire way back, okay, then hit the runways, right? So they can't take off and land. Do something to slow that pace, because as long...
Yeah, so China, maybe a little bit of Russia involvement there. That's got to stop, obviously. And the way to stop it without going to war with them, I don't see us going to war with China or Russia. We're not at war with Russia. Europe, the Nazis of Europe, NATO, are at war with Russia, and this is a long time type thing. All right, all the way back to World War I and II and so forth. So it's been an ongoing problem where European dominance has to come in now. That one spot where Juan was talking about how President Trump wants peace and wants everyone to have prosperity. Ultimately, if we have that in the world, then we won't have any wars. But there's still those knuckleheads that are in those positions of manipulated to the top power that they've been there for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. Uh, it's like, I used to get abalone in California. I would snorkel down and get them, and you have to get the right angle, and they don't want to come off that rock. And you pop them off and you put them in your bag, and hopefully, one of those, some of those fish that are not so happy about that, they want some of that. I want some of that. So you have to, and then you have to hold your breath, and some of the stuff comes out at you, and sharks come around, and it's like, come on, guys, I just want a little abalone here. Come on. But that's kind of the way these deep state bubbas are. They're like abalone on the rock, and they have sharks that protect them, and moray eels that'll come out at you. I had a moray eel come out of my hand one time. I was about ready to pick up one of my abalones. I was like, dang. And I popped a couple of abalones off, and they were like some really good ones, some pinks. You have to go down deep to get those. So I held down, and that moray eel came out of my hand. I was like, oop, that up to the surface. And then I was like, oh, maybe it was a sheep's head, because sheep's head have like teeth that stick out. So I was like I was looking on the surface, and I started to go back down. I was like, well, I don't see it. So maybe it was a sheep's head, because the sheep heads were like, hitting the abalone. They were going, wah, wah, wah. I was like, dang it. So I took a deep breath, and I started to go down, and that moray eel came out of its hole and started coming at me. I was like, whoop, I'm out. I'm out. Yeah, that was probably, I should have had that kind of speed when I was in the buds training, but I didn't. I did pretty good in buds training. I made it all the way through, obviously. So that's in one shot. I remember some of the guys, some of the trainees when I was there, they would like idolize me. I don't know why. It's like, I'm just a dude here, gonna put you through training, we'll beat you. And they're like, Chief Jago, did you make it through in one time? And I was like, yeah. It was like, and they're like, oh, they're like, what? It's like, you can too. Just keep yourself, in shape, and don't blow yourself away. So that's some of the things we're going through as far as like SEALs are going to have to get involved and taking some of these bubbas out. I've joked about this, but I think we need to see some slaughtering, right? Break out the guillotines like the old times, like the French Revolution. And part of me doesn't want to do that, but part of me is like, we need to get this done so that all those people that are still believing that the deep state is going to support them and are making things difficult, they need a little wake-up call. And you get a few heads rolling down, and it's quick, it's fast, boop, stop. And it's, firing squad, somebody might live, somebody that's, or somebody's off that day on their shooting. So it can get messy. All right. So just bring out the guillotine. I mean, they were going to use it on us. I think it's only fair, so break those things out. Obama, I think they had thousands of them ready for us. I was like, yeah. So break those things out wherever they're stored, and let's get down to business, and let's start getting things cleaned up, right? So I think we're gonna have to go through something like that. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be that intense within the next month or two, but I think we're going to start to see some arrest, some pretty significant, and we're already seeing pretty significant arrest. The fraud that's happened. They're arresting people and convicting them. They're going to prison, and they're like, "What?" The Somali guys. They're like, and they can't understand it. They thought that everything was going to be covered because they've done it. They've done it for so long, and they probably know like hundreds of other people, thousands of people. Talk a little bit. Maybe we can knock off a few years. So it's like we're going to see some serious pushback on these people that have done us fraud and done this evil to us. So we can go to the election of 2020. That was a bad one, guys. We're not going to forget that either. So the steal, the pandemic, all the people that were put in certain positions that were stealing our money, people losing their houses, still losing their houses on a massive scale. All this fraud has to be, the people that did it knowingly, wittingly, and took advantage of it, they got to pay, right? And I don't know, they all get their heads cut off, but or shot or hung or whatever the heck's going to happen. But they're definitely going to get some justice. All right, justice is coming. There's no question about it. It's an absolute. I see it. A lot of people see it. There's no way for them to get around it. All right, and they know it, and they're going to fight hard. They're going to do something crazy, stupid, and hopefully we stop them out. I think a lot of the people they sent over the border, the millions of people they sent over the border that were going to fight us in our cities, I think a lot of their what we call headshed, their leadership, has been removed, right? Quietly removed by ICE and some of my old Bubba's, SEAL Team 6, Delta guys probably out there, special teams are out there, kicking some serious ass. And I know some people are like, gosh, they're probably going in some really hardcore people. That's a dream come true. Yeah. And people are lining up for that and going in and annihilating. So that's happening behind the scenes. Now mass bankruptcies are happening. So this is some of the bullshit, unfortunately, because they really jacked around the economy. Also, the banksters and so forth. They weren't held accountable in 2008, 2009 crash, and back when I was a kid, there was a savings and loan scandal. They weren't held accountable for that either. These banksters, they definitely need some guillotine action. All right, so and I don't know, maybe just me saying that, they're like, oh my God, I'm telling everything I know. Don't cut my head off. Yeah, that's what we want to hear. All right. So we're leaning in. We're starting to lean in now. So we need to start this talk. All right. So it's going to happen one way or the other. Okay. So Fannie Mae warns. So let's, this is Reventure Consulting. He has been like, the two of us have been like, saying the same stuff. Yeah, although we've never met, I don't know if he even knows me. I play some of his stuff quite often. I have his app. I highly recommend it. Maybe at some point I have him on, but and I should, because I've been supporting him for long enough. Might as well just have him come on and talk. So watch this. I might have to like reload.
Apartments are falling like a market crash across many cities in America. These rents for apartments are falling like a rock. And the result is cheaper prices for local renters and buyers, but also landlords going into default. According to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the default rate on multifamily mortgages has now hit its highest.
All right. So you see these highs. We got all the way back to 2011. It started going up, and that was the Great Recession during this time frame where prices crashed like crazy. So we're back to that level again. Of course, that's nothing, because they dumped massive amounts of money in the system, and that's what drove prices up. Because very easy money. All right, they were giving away billions and billions of dollars to business people. Yeah, right. So there was a lot of fraud there, and that money just, kickstarted a massive wave of buying in the stock market, crypto, you name it, everything went up, right? Housing prices. So this is kind of the norm down along here, right? And then it got jacked up. So we're going back to 2019 numbers, guys, and we're already there for rents and some of the home prices in some areas. So, and this has to happen because things are out of control. Young people can't afford. It's all people 50 and above that are buying all the housing now. It's bullshit. I remember took a long time because I was a young SEAL playing all over the world, moving all over the place. But I remember I was in Virginia Beach. I bought a condo at 30 years old, and my dad was like, "Oh, that's amazing. You're a young man." And he was a real estate guy. I was like, "Really?" So everybody should be, young people should have a home, and they're not able to afford. It's bullshit. Absolute complete bullshit. All right, so these prices have to come down. So if you're sitting on something like, I've been saying this for years, get out of those homes. But if you're you're still sitting on homes and you think you're going to make a big bank, that opportunity is leaving faster and faster. If you're, like I always also say, if you're in the home of your dreams and it's paid off or whatever, you don't need to move. People ask me, I own my home and I love my home. Should I sell it? I'm like, no, of course not. Keep it. You're good. So, but people that bought it, everybody's like, it's one of the biggest money makers in the world, American real estate in the world. All right. So people buy it, they flip it, they fix it, they flip it, they hold it for like 4 or 5 years and they sell it and they make a lot of money, buy something bigger. Those days are gone. I've been saying it for years. They're gone. Right. And they're going to get pretty bad.
Well, since 2009, 2010, quite literally, this is a crash playing out in the U.S. apartment market. And this is also spilling over into the residential housing market in these cities as well. And when you look at the skyline here, you can see the problem, everyone. All of these new apartment buildings, either under construction or recently built, that are sitting heavily vacant. Particularly this apartment right behind me. This building is giving 3 months free rent with a minimum 12 months lease, everyone. 3 months free rent is a 25% rent discount. And what these landlords do to try to kind of 1 to 2 months free on your renewal. When this is happening, why would anyone buy a house, right? Like if you're a first-time buyer and prices are overvalued, why would you buy a house and double your payment? You wouldn't, which is why Nashville's housing market's also suffering. Nashville's housing market now has over 11,000 homes for sale as of June 2026. This is no longer.
So look at those numbers. This is 20. Look at the number, right, of housing that's available. And look at that. Boom. So there's a lot of pressure on these markets right now. People are still holding out. They list it. Nothing happened. So they take it off the market, relist it for like $1,000 less. Nothing happens. Months go by. They take it off the market, relist it for $1,000 left. If you're going to sell, you need to go big, right? The people that are selling their homes now are really discounting. And that's the only way you're going to move something at this point. You waited too long. You didn't listen to Mike.
We're talking about houses now, houses, condos, and townhomes. Nashville has over 11,000 for sale. We've never seen inventory that high going back the last decade. But here's the thing I think everyone is missing about this apartment market crash in America's Sunbelt and Mountain West, is that this isn't just about the apartment market. It's signaling a structural change in where Americans are moving, in which cities are going to have the most economic growth and might going forward. This is the really interesting thing that I don't really feel like anyone in the housing market, other than myself on this channel, has caught on to, is the fact that we are now in a long-term correction.
Long-term correction, right? This happened during the Great Depression. All right, so we're seeing basically deflation. So the Fed, everyone's like, the Fed is going to raise rates. Fed is not going to raise rates. You just saw why. One of the reasons, right? The Fed is not going to raise rates, all right? And they're going to meet next week, and they will not raise rates, all right, for the rest of this year. Probably when the stock market finally crashes. When the stock market's going up, the Fed doesn't lower rates. They're just like adding jet fuel to a fire. It's no, that doesn't happen. The thought that the Fed is not going to raise rates is what's going to kick this market next week. So it already started today. All right. It was in a little pocket, resistance up and down. It gets squeeze, and there's a lot of breakout today. All right. We'll see if there's follow through on the rest of the week, but I think we probably will have that. Now, major deflationary periods in U.S. history, of course, the 1930, 33, and of course, those of us that remember, as I do, 2007, 2009. So that's when deflation happened. That's when deflation happened to the housing prices, and eventually the stock market went down. All right. And you can also go back to 2001. That was not really a big deflationary period, but kind of. Definitely when you look at the NASDAQ, right, which was a new market, it went big. It went up to like 5,000. And everybody's like, it'll go to 25,000. They're a little ahead of their time because it is 25,000 now. But back then, everybody's like, that's crazy. And it went to 5,000, almost 6,000 or something, whatever it was. And then it crashed 80%. And it stayed down for, I don't know, 8-10 years before it came back. So we're going to see that again. We're going to see 80% crash, at least. I say upwards of maybe 90%. So you can benefit from that, of course. Your silver and gold. Yeah. So if you're in it, you're going to like it. Some of you guys are like whiny. It hasn't gone up. Yeah, it went up to like 120. What'd your boy say? I said it would go to 150. Oh, it didn't go that high. Well, there was a war that happened. So I said that in the first quarter, it would go to 150. Well, the first couple months, it would go to 150. It went 120 something. And then the war came and they just like jerked it down. And so buy an opportunity, right? And I said mid-year, it would probably be 250. Still the war's going on. So we'll see. You're going to see. You're going to find out. You're going to find out. So eventually silver will be 1,000. It'll take a little bit of time. It's not going to happen overnight. Probably this year we'll see 253, 4, maybe 100 before the year's out. It's going to take off. And you're like, no, it's not, Mike. You know what we're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a psychic. I'm a psychic boy. And sometimes it doesn't happen when I say it is, of course. But sometimes I'm like, damn, I got that right on the knot, right on the head. Like my first week-long prediction as far as like a terrorist event. I was like, it'll happen like between 8:45 and 9 o'clock in the morning, and there'll be 2 sites that are going to be blown up, and one of them will be here, and one of them will be over here, and there will be car bombs. I can see the car bomb. It's like a white truck with 2 people in it in the front. And the first one, and I said there'd be 2, and the second one was like a couple of minutes later, and this was in Pakistan, so Lahore. And so the one that so time goes by, and we're looking, and everybody's coming up to me. He's like, damn, boy. And I was like, yeah, I'm cool about it. I'm like, yeah, I know. So I know. It's not me. It's like, and I'm channeling that stuff. So, and then we're watching, TV, and then we see a white truck with 2 men in the front burst through a gate, and a few seconds after that, big flash. I was impressed. Right? So, wow. Just like I saw it. And so once you start to connect with that stuff, guys, then you start to see things. All right. You just do it. You're in that frequency, just like the planets. We're in the cradle of love with the frequency of the planets. All right, so you're in that zone, and you start tapping into other stuff, and that's what I do. You guys have watched me for a while. You know that I tap into this stuff. I'm not always right. Yeah, I'm human, and but I think what I was seeing was right on the timeline. The timeline just got changed, and that's really interesting to me how that can happen. So will the timeline change that maybe silver goes down more? Possibly. But I think it's right at where it's supposed to be. So again, the FOMC meeting July 28 and 29 of next week, and they do not raise rates, and the stock market is going to go yay, even though we're still at war. All right, we're winning at the war, so that's good. You look back in World War II, the stock market went up. Stock market went up because that was after the Great Depression. They're like, we need a reason to go up, and we're winning the war. And so we're winning this war. We're kicking their ass big time. Although there's a lot of naysayers out there. It's all right. Don't let them pull you off track. All right. The next FOMC, Federal Open Market Committee meeting, FOMC, will be September 15th and 16th. So that's almost two months. So the stock market's going to go, yay, 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 let's go. And everything else is collapsing. This is the way it works, right? It's the way it works. Everything, it's the last to go, always the last to go. All the money is going to come out of housing. It's going to go into the stock market, and that's the way it works. And then eventually that money is going to go into silver and gold. And then it's going to be, those of us, have gone big in silver. We're going to be loving it. All right. We're going to be loving it. All right. So let's look at what I'm talking about as far as like the breakout. Here is the breakout. And, I had somebody make this rude comment in the chat. It's like, I'm so tired of you people talking about silver, and I'm just going to explode or something. I don't know. That's what kind of way I felt. She was like, it was just going on and on. It was like, oh, you're blocked forever. Now, and that was when we were doing one show. So have you ever watched news? You know how many commercials they have in news? How many commercials have I had? Like none. Right. So, and how long have I been doing this? Like over an hour. Try and watch the news and see how many commercials there are. It's insane, right? So for somebody to come in and be like, you're here for me. All of your time is for me. And you should not make any income, and you should do all this for me. Right? It's okay. Yeah, you're bye-bye. You just don't understand. And good luck out there, because not that you need it, you're not going to get it, right? So if you're that, zoned out, because there are a lot of people like that still, and I really don't think they're going to go forward. I think they're going to expire, because we're going into hard times. Unfortunately, some of those people will be in the way of us going through these hard times and getting to a point where things are going to go much better. And who knows? Maybe there won't be a stock market crash. Maybe this time will be different. It is a possibility. So as we're seeing the COMEX gold futures, as you see here today, they spiked up. So you see the charting. I'm a charting guy. I'm also I look at what's going on in the world. All right, so I do both. Now here's the breakout. See that breakout? Isn't that lovely? Isn't she lovely? So you have this little triangle pattern. It basically hits resistance. It doesn't go any lower. Everybody's like, "Oh, that's a good price. I'm buying it." So that's good. And then it goes up and it hits, and everybody's like, "Well, I'm not going to buy a lot." And people sell still, and then it goes down. People buy it, and it goes back and forth, and it goes into a little wedge. And then it either goes down more or it breaks out and goes up. Now, this doesn't mean it's going to go back to its all-time highs and then to $7,000, which I think it's going to fairly quickly. But it is in the start of a breakout, and it may pull back, do a little fake out. So it does that sometimes. It's like, and everybody goes, "Oh, it's a lie, run away," and then they sell, and then it goes up. So they try and get those last little scaredy pies that are weak-minded, and because everybody wants a good deal. So the little scaredy pies, they'll dump their money or they'll dump the silver at a real nice price, and somebody's going to pick it up. So I think all that's been done, but you never know. So silver had a strong day. It was up 240 today. And here's the silver futures, or that was gold, whatever it was. And here's the breakout. So silver really broke out. So I think silver is really going to, usually gold leads and then silver follows. But I think this time might be different. All right. I think they're both going to go up big. All right. And they're not going to, neither one of them is going to wait. And the same thing with platinum. I have platinum. So, there is going to be money made, guys, going forward. And if you're in the right position, if you haven't invested all your money in housing and you're losing it, and you sold when I told you to, and you got a nice little bank of silver, you're like, Mike is great. Mike is great. So you're gonna make out. And those of you that are whining and expect all of us to give everything to you, my time and my, I guess my money too. You want me to give you want my money too? Yeah, you're rich, right? No, but I guess you want my money too. But that's a way, people have been like that forever. So it doesn't bother me because I've been poor. I've been dirt poor. I lived in trailers for most of my life growing up, and in my more recently, and not so recent, maybe 10, maybe a little bit further back, all I had was a tent and a backpack. And Tracy was with me. Tracy and I lived in tents for a little bit, and then we broke out, and then we were living in tents again. And so, but I think I'm pretty tapped in now. So I don't doubt God anymore. I'm not locked in. And I had a really good discussion about this with Meg, and she's got some of the same, houses rising and all that kind of stuff. And we know at this point in our lives that when God comes in and says, it's time for you to go do this now. And we don't know, but I'm kind of doing pretty good here. No, it's time for you to go. Come on. I'm doing good. I don't want to leave. It's like the little kid, right? Do we have to leave now? I'm having fun on the slide. But I learned the hard way. When it's time to go, it's time to go. And I feel like something is going to happen. Not that I'm going to go, of course, because this is one of the cool things that Meg saw in my chart. It says you're protected. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. I am protected. When I was a little kid, my mom would be home with me, and I'd be in bed, and I would kind of wake up, and then I'd be out, and I'm like, I'm going to go. It's like, but then I would see angels, and I was like, the angels, I just saw an angel. I'm going to live. And I saw that a lot as a little kid. I was pretty sickly. And then I remember seeing Archangel Michael. He was huge in the room where I was. And he communicated with me. He says, you're not going to be sick anymore. You're good. And I'm like, yay. All right. Thank you, Angel. And then I didn't see him again until that story that I talk about in the Intuitive Warrior, where I was like, that's a bummer. I could help humanity. And then I saw Archangel Michael, and he was like, oh, you want to help humanity? Here's some love. Boom, you're back. And so crazy stuff. So some of us, are going to go forward, and we're going to continue to help each other. And we're going to raise our consciousness, and we're going to defeat the deep state once and for all time, for humanity's time. And then we're going to go multidimensional and higher dimension and all that kind of stuff. We're going to manifest like crazy, and it's going to be beautiful art and singing and, planetary travel. It's all coming. Don't doubt me. All right. I'm doing it in another, realm. So already, so it's there. All right. So yeah, the stock market, it's going to probably go up. I think they're getting, maybe somebody told them that they're not going to raise rates. So we might see a little, because they like to like boom, and then they go, oh, well, maybe, but they know. All right. I think the stock market knows, and crypto's up pretty significantly from its low. And silver and gold are really going to outperform, and we're going to see all of that happen. Now, another thing that I'm going to leave you with is the Russia-Ukraine war. So there is another aspect that has to be one, I believe, because this is good against evil, in my opinion. So Ukraine being evil, the European Union being evil, and they're fighting Russia, which is good. Russians are Christian, very strong Christian, and they have Ukrainians who are Nazis, literally Nazis, who believe in the devil and Lucifer and all that kind of stuff. So this is going to be turned around in a lot of areas. So the red, as you guys see, Donetsk was taken years ago, Crimea years ago, and wherever you see the red, this is where the Russians are starting to come into and take Ukrainian territory. I think I've said Odessa. I thought Odessa might be this year, but I don't. The Russians are moving at a very slow pace, and that's fine. The Russians do what the Russians do, and they always do a really good job of that. They always win eventually, but sometimes it takes them a while. So Odessa, I think, will be at some point, probably into next year. Now, a couple other places that I said would be Kherson, and what's the other one in that area? Yeah, Kherson, and there's another one I can't see it. This is a funky map. I haven't seen this before. So where is it? Back over here. So anyway, they're going to basically take this and they're going to move over and take Odessa, probably next year. So moving up, there's a couple other places. They're going to give a little resistance, and they're going to just keep on going. All right, let me. All right. So Kharkiv, I said that Kharkiv would go this year. It looks like it's going to take them a little bit longer, but this is the second largest city outside of Kyiv. Kyiv, of course, is the biggest city. Now they're demonstrating in Kyiv, massive demonstrations in Kyiv. Now, is this potentially going to overthrow the government like they did when the European and United States bad people came over? John McCain, so bad. He had the wrinkly flag on his coffin. Of course, he was a traitor. So they came in basically throughout the rightfully elected, kind of like Joe Biden type, because the deep state works everywhere, guys. So they came in and basically took out a good leader for Ukraine, and they put a puppet in there, kind of like a Biden. And now we have Zelensky, who's wore the leather pants and danced with gay men. So, and he's a comedian. I guess he was just being funny. I don't know, but now he's a leader. He's a leader because he's puppetable, and so that's why they have him there. Sumy is going to be another area that should definitely. I think Sumy is goner. It may be one of the first ones. Kharkiv, I think could be this year, maybe next year. But all of these, Zaporizhia, I think is going to go, and then Odessa, like I said. Where's that other one that I was looking for? But anyway, there's another one over in this area that I believe is going to go. And once these cities go, it's all done. It's pretty much all done. Then they just move into they just go across the landscape very rapidly because those are the last of the cities that are going to stop them. There'll be a few hiccups here and there, but they're going to go right into Kharkiv or Kiev. So that's coming. I saw Putin in Kiev, taking over and celebrating during Christmas. Now the Russians have a different Christmas. The Orthodox Christianity, it's a little bit later than our Christmas. So I saw Putin celebrating in Kiev. So at some point, I thought it was last year. I don't think it's going to be this year because it was very strong. Sometimes when it comes in that strong, I'm like, oh, it's going to be this year. But as I'm learning, maybe not so much. So at some point, we're going to see Putin coming into Kiev and celebrating victory. Now, I don't think they're going to stop at any point because they're going to make sure they take out the Nazis out of Ukraine completely because they don't want to deal with them anymore. So they'll go all the way to the border of Poland. Poland gives them any problem, they'll go into Poland, right? If any of these countries give them problems, they're going to go into them. Now, what they've done is they started to go onto a different level as far as the war. The drones and the missiles and so forth. They're trading drones and missiles. Russia has the upper hand by far. A lot of people are saying Russia doesn't have any gas. That's bullshit, right? So I follow people that are like, that's bullshit, and they drive around. They show that you can get gas, right? So, but Ukraine maybe not so much because there's no bullshit that's going on from the Russian side. It's all from the Ukrainian side. They're very evil. They're Nazis, absolute Nazis. And no, we as of battalion, we know they're Nazis. And some of those Nazis are here in the United States. Some of them are Canada. So that's why Alberta's got to break away and once Alberta breaks away, the rest of Canada has no more money, right? So they're done, and so the dominoes are going to start to fall in Canada from that point on. So that's absolutely coming, and Greenland, probably the rest of Central and South America, Cuba, yeah, all of it. So and it'll be under the protectorate of America, and so it'll be a fantastic world. Then there will be the Russian influenced area, the Chinese influenced area, and I don't know what Europe's going to do. I don't really care, but there are some good people still left in Europe. Right? So I'd like to go back there and visit, actually. And I was told that I was probably going to Europe next year sometime. So I'm coming back to Europe. I've been there many lifetimes, so I'm coming back. And I have been in Europe several times, several occasions. But I think the world is going to be a better place going forward. But we're still going to have to fight for it, right? But we're in the position where we can fight now. So this is a monumental time, and thanks to the French, we have the guillotine. All right, that's going to really have some really good influence. And noose him. Was he noosed? I don't know. Could he be noosed? Whoever's playing that part, the people that play those parts, I don't think if they're working for us, we're not going to hold them accountable. If they're working for them, they should go too, right? So anyway, that's all I got for tonight. It's had some nice rain here. We're not going to burn, so that's good. Right? I keep pulling in the rain, but it's. I think the rain's going to be pretty intense on the West Coast coming up. The monsoonal, and then we have other factors, of course, from El Nino, and Super El Nino. I think it's going to be the biggest one ever. It's already at as big as the one 70 years ago, I guess, which was at the biggest one in recorded history so far. This is going to be bigger. So you're seeing a little bit of storming that's happening in the Gulf of America, and they need the rain. It's okay. Right? So there's a lot of places need the rain. Mudslides after forest fires. Yeah, that's the bummer. Tornado warnings. Yep. Mega Nino. Yep. Mega Nino. El Nino. Little boy. Right. So, and that's funny because Nino is not a little boy at all. He's a big boy, 6'5" or something crazy. And so, hopefully, he stays healthy. Pray for him. All right, we all need it. But some of the people are out here doing the influencing stuff. Probably need a little bit more. But I get protection. That doesn't mean I flaunt it. I got Archangel Michael. You can't hurt me. So, then I get blown up, and it's like Archangel Michael's like, "Come on, don't make it hard on me." Right? Gotta keep it low key. Right? Okay. All right, guys. Lots of love. Stay in the love vibration, and I'll see you guys next time.
Hello, Patriots. I'm at Restored Republic via a GCR updates compiled by Judy Byington.
Judy note: the constitutional republic has been restored. The global currency reset to gold asset-backed currency of 209 nations has been released. Medbed technology, giving the body the ability to heal itself, was being released. The Illuminati deep state Satan-worshipping cabal, who for centuries had been working towards having complete control over our society, didn't like those ideas and was fighting back big time. Trust the plan. On SAT. Evening 18 July 2026, the White House in Washington, D.C. turned all red, signifying mass arrests were in motion. Q in the coming hours, the world as we see it will be changed forever as Michael Jackson emerges on the emergency broadcast system, alive and ready to speak. It's time for the whole world to know the truth. I'm on 2s. 28 July 2026, the show starts. Hillary Clinton will be arrested for crimes against humanity and crimes against children. Prepare the popcorn. Don't move from your seats and be patient. The best is yet to come. The U.S. Army Special Forces raided a hidden Obama property in the Virginia countryside, where they discovered the Lucifer Codex. The files proved that Obama was the high priest who personally opened the main hell portal under Washington, D.C. in 2009. Temporary martial law has been raised to maximum alert nationwide. The EBS is preparing to release the first decoded pages within hours. Prepare for 10 days of communication darkness. We are in a silent war, the final battle of the planet. In the next couple of weeks, the world will change and tremble. One of the most dramatic changes will soon be available to the general public across the globe. The non-invasive treatments, which generally take under an hour, use certain wavelengths to help the body heal itself. On a brighter side, a senior Treasury Department official claims that the quantum financial system was live and the global currency reset was happening now. Everything you know about money is about to change forever. Tier 4B ISO 2002 contacted us 48 hours ago through a secure channel. Her identity verified by 6 independent financial intelligence sources. She worked in Treasury's Special Financial Operations Division 2008-2026. She calls it the awakening. Her words, unedited. July 4, 2026. U.S. corporation dissolved. Constitutional republic restored. July 16, QFS went live globally. Every major bank connected, old system dead. GCR happening now, every currency revalued, gold-backed, transparent. NESARA implemented across 209 countries. Debt jubilee, end of Fed. St. Germain Trust $890 trillion is being activated, going to the people. I have the activation codes. I have the account numbers. I have the proof that this is happening right now. In 18 years, I witnessed the QFS development from concept to deployment 209 countries signing onto NESARA GSARA, the St. Germain Trust verification, $890 trillion. The U.S. corporation dissolution documents the constitutional republic restoration protocols, trillions stolen by Fed. People enslaved by debt. We had the solution. I couldn't sleep. For 18 years. Why she's talking now. Activation complete. If I speak, people understand what's happening. I have 18 years of documentation. QFS architecture. Proof old system finished. The banks will announce the revaluation. The media will call it a crisis. It's not a crisis, it's liberation. I am ready to testify, under oath, before Congress, before the world. Her final message. To every person who lost their home to the Federal Reserve, your debt is forgiven. Your home is yours. The Jubilee is here. To every person who worked their entire life for money that's about to be worthless, you will be compensated. The St. Germain Trust is for you. To the Federal Reserve leadership, your time is finished. The QFS is live. You cannot stop it anymore. Operation Financial Freedom, QFS activation lived July 16. Phase 2. Currency revaluation July 25, August 8 Phase 3. Wealth distribution August 15, September 30 Phase 4. New economy October 1. The quantum financial system is live. The global currency reset is happening. NESARA is being implemented. The old system is dead. The new system is born. The people are being liberated. Trump knows. The military knows. The intelligence agencies know. They are protecting the transition. Prepare for abundance. Prepare for freedom. Prepare for the new earth. The financial reset is here. The Tier 4B activation is complete. Everything changes now. Right now, military forces are positioning for activation of the EBS. Systems are being readied. Global shutdown protocols are in motion. The blackout is nearing. Disclosures are on the horizon. Large-scale arrest what we thought we knew, but didn't really know and now are supposed to know but don't have a clue. With clones, doubles, made-up movies Hollywood-style and Trump's military alliance throwing more popcorn at us, it gets so confusing. Since 2007, the U.S. military has been using red light therapy, medbeds, to extend the operational lifespan of its soldiers. There were discovered to be thousands of pages of foreign IP address sending and receiving data to election precincts and servers outside the United States during the 2020 election. CISA, DHS, the FBI, and the CIA knew all about it because they were in on it. The deep state rot runs deep, but not for much longer. Actor Jim Caviezel, who played the role of Christ in a hit movie, estimates that around 80% of the elite are involved with child trafficking and abuse. The Mar-a-Lago unredacted search warrant confirms that the Biden DOJ, FBI, and GSA engineered and manufactured the plot to frame Donald J. Trump. On Thursday, 16 July 2026, the U.S. military went deep into Iran and expanded operations. Bridges and supply routes were no more. Airports went up in smoke. Infrastructure vaporized. The IRGC was being wiped out. The goal was to destroy Iran's infrastructure and its military capability would collapse. When its military broke, its regime would fall. The old world of Iranian tyranny was dead. The new world of American dominion begins. The oil runs freely.
Possible timing. On Saturday, July 18th, 2026 at 3:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the RVGCR exploded. Iraq, Vietnam, Zimbabwe, all revalued sky high while the cabal's Federal Reserve note collapses in real time. Dr. Jim Willey. On Tuesday, July 28, 2026, the show starts. Hillary Clinton will be arrested for crimes against humanity and crimes against children. Prepare the popcorn. Don't move away from your seats and be patient.
The dollar is dead, the reset is here, and the traders are about to lose everything. The fiat dollar has been deliberately crashed by white hats, and the quantum financial system flipped live overnight. The RVGCR exploded at 3:17 a.m. EST today SAT. 18 July 2026, Iraq, Vietnam, Zimbabwe, all revalued sky high while the cabal's Federal Reserve note collapses in real time. Willie laid it out raw. The BRICS nations, led by Trump's secret alliance, with Putin and Xi, just pulled the trigger. Over 209 countries locked into gold-backed currencies, the SWIFT system is offline forever, and the Rothschild central banks are being seized as we speak. NESARA GSARA fully activated. All bank debt, mortgages, credit cards, student loans, WIPED out starting tomorrow morning. Redemption centers on full lockdown, military guarding Tier 4B notifications going out within hours. The real bombshell. Gitmo executions began at dawn. Top bankers, Fed chairs, and deep state money launderers hanged for treason after the gold standard was restored. America is being shaken awake. Power outages are tactical, internet blackouts cover the arrests, and the EBS is primed for the 10 days of darkness starting any moment. The storm isn't coming, it's here. The fake Biden corpse regime ends this week, Trump sworn in on the real Constitution, and the Republic rises from the ashes of their burned-out corporation. Anons, this is the moment we bled for. The dollar dies so we can live free. The evil empire of debt slavery is over. They stole our wealth for 150 years, now we take it all back with interest. The hat is dropping truth like napalm, the shock is just beginning, and the cabal is screaming as their money turns to dust. Get ready for the greatest week in history. Notifications any second. Redemption appointments flood in. The golden age starts now. The shaking isn't destruction, it's liberation. Nothing can stop what's coming. Patriots are about to be richer than kings while the wicked burn. One 847 peer-reviewed studies on PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic field. Therapy showing 70-94% efficacy in tissue regeneration. 200 pages of WHO internal memos from 1998 to 015 discussing the frequency problem. Their own term for the threat that non-pharmaceutical healing posed to global health economics. 400 pages of clinical trial data from 11 countries showing frequency-based cancer remission rates between 67-89% to 800 pages of correspondence between WHO directors and pharmaceutical executives discussing. The Wayback Machine captured snapshots of 4,100 of these pages before deletion. Digital forensics teams archived another 7,300 through automated scraping protocols that were triggered by the mass deletion event. They deleted 14,247 pages. We recovered 11,400. They failed. What the memos reveal: a 2003 internal WHO memo, now recovered, contains this exact sentence. If electromagnetic frequency therapy achieves mainstream clinical adoption, the global pharmaceutical revenue model becomes unsustainable within 18-24 months. Containment is not optional. It is existential. Signed by 3 WHO department heads, names redacted in the original. Digital forensics has identified 2 of the 3. A 2011 memo is more direct. Recommend classification of all PEMF efficacy data as inconclusive, regardless of outcome metrics. Peer review panels must be briefed accordingly. They didn't suppress the research because it didn't work. They suppressed it because it worked too well. Why now? The deletion happened 14 hours after Executive Order 2026. 1947 was signed Trump's declaration that medbed technology was released to the public. This is not coincidence. This is panic. The WHO knows that once medbed technology enters civilian deployment, every document they ever buried becomes evidence of a crime against humanity. They are destroying evidence. In real time. Right now. But the internet never forgets. And neither do we.
Yeah, you go through all the major nations, the serious players. Russia had to be brought under control, and it was. Now, how are they brought under control? They either agreed to do what they told, or they were replaced with actors. And you can look at all the national leaders, look at photographs today and look at photographs 5 years ago. They're different people. Now, the average punter out there can't see it, but we can. And so the center of gravity, what the White Hats had to control to win this war was national leadership, because that's the
for a couple of reasons. Not because they're actually important, they're not, because we know that national leaders of every stripe, they answer to another group, which answers to another group, which answers to another group, which answers to another group, and you work your way all the way up to the top. But the reason the national leaders were key is because, one, they are, and most importantly, they are what the people see. They believe that Vlad Putin ran Russia. Well, of all the national leaders, Vlad probably was the only one that did run his country. But all the rest are controlled. And that's why Vlad was a bit of a problem. That's why the cabal wanted to get rid of him. But all the rest of them are controlled by another group. So what DJT and the White Hats did is they came through. They certainly started taking out the people at the top, without a doubt. In fact, the worst of the worst were taken out, what's this, 26, maybe 2 years ago now. But the visible controllers, the ones that the people believe are running the show, they had to see them continue. Had they whacked all the national leaders, Trump was just another tyrant. We don't trust him. He's a bad man. But no, the faces are still there. Are they the real people? In some cases, yes. In some cases, no. Where they are the real people, they're either reasonably good people who aren't completely depraved and they're following orders, or the really depraved ones were taken out and replaced with people in masks. And so as far as the population is concerned, in terms of transitioning from where they are to where they need to be, and this is going to shock the system, so they had to continue this facade of Israel's run by Bibi Netanyahu. No, it's not. It's being run by the White Hats. The key actor in that particular TV show is a guy playing Bibi Netanyahu. Bin Salman, that's the real guy, but he's really running Saudi. And when you're dealing with a dictatorship, they can do that stuff. It's a lot easier for them. We've got a democracy. You've either got somebody that you need to have under control, the real guy, like Keir Starmer. He's the real guy, and he is so compromised and so terrified that he just does what he's told. So whenever you see Keir Starmer from the UK say something stupid, that's because he's been told to say and do something stupid. Let's talk about cocaine with a couple of guys and boyfriends that we've had. This is all to undermine the example. And so they took that first phase was to take control of the impression of national leadership around the planet. They will go down, but in time. The next part is the control of all the planets. If you notice what he did in Venezuela, and this is where people should be nice and relaxed, they didn't go in and then remove the entire leadership and say, right, we're going to put our people in. Why? Because you can't do it. You can't replace the leadership of a country. And by leadership, I mean the polity, the judiciary, the constabulary, the military, the bureaucracy, big business, big unions, academia. There aren't enough people to run one country in this op. So what you do is you cut the head off and then you control the remainder, but you leave them in place. It's like denazifying Germany after the war. They had to leave most of them in there because they were the ones that knew how to run the trains. They were the ones that knew how to run the power stations. They were the ones that fill in the blank. And so they're just decapitating publicly the bad guy. And in Venezuela, let's leave the deputy now in charge. Now, the deputy's no better than Maduro was. But as far as the people are concerned, it looks like, oh, wow, this is okay. They're just taking out the bad guy, but the Venezuelans are still running Venezuela. Now, they are, but under direction from White Hats. And so it's quite an unusual and different war. So instead of having the soldiers shoot each other on the front lines to the point of exhaustion, where you strip an entire nation of 20 to 30% of its manhood, as most of these wars do, what you're doing is you're taking out the leadership. There must be, by necessity, some kinetic aspects to it, but they are very surgical, very constrained, very limited, and the targets are well known. It's not like the old days of sending waves of B-17 during the day, American B-17s and Lancasters during the night from the Brits, hoping to hit a target in Europe. Now, those days are done. Now it's very surgical, it's very, very strategic, very precise, and that's how it gets done. So it's a reverse of a normal war. Take out the leadership, pretend it's still there, because the people, they have to come along. And the people are learning for the first time with this, to jump now down to the Iran situation. They're watching the real effects of what this means to them. And you can talk about the spike in oil prices, and if anybody thinks that's the biggest deal here, they have no clue. But they understand it. Now the White Hats will use everything as an opportunity. What's the spike in oil prices doing to people? Oh my God, My bread cost another 30 cents a loaf. Now, is that a problem? Yeah, of course it is, to the people at home. So now they've got their attention. And so we talk about this financial crash that's coming. This is all, in my mind, this is preparation for what's about to happen. They're creating a sense of fear and tension in the people because it must happen. They've got to wake up. They've got to be shaken out of their comatose state and seen and shown what's going on and why. And guess what? It's not your fault, but it sort of is because you let it happen. Oh, but I trusted people. Well, you shouldn't have. And you've heard me say many, many times, breaking trust is key to the future of this planet, to the point where people don't trust the sheriff, the judge, the mayor, unless they physically, personally know them and can walk up to them and shirt front them and get them doing what they want. So the downstream effects of all of these events are so multifaceted, but it's creating the conditions for when all this is done. Then I'm talking years in the future, because this is going to take a while, where people start to realize, you know what, my name's Jack Smith. I'm responsible for my family. I've got to be a moral man. I've got to take these sovereign rights that I have to be the source of law and know what the hell I'm doing. I've got to be self-reliant. I'm responsible for my wealth, my health. I just can't outsource that to somebody else. Moral, sovereign, self-reliant, Christian. Let's have a good set of morals about us, and people are going to learn over the years that, you know what, these other religions, yeah, not so good. Not so good. That you don't have to be a Christian, but the Christian ethic is what is the only foundation of a civilization that can potentially last. Constitutional republic, hey, this is the way we govern ourselves. And these are, as you can see, I'm describing the end state for Australia 1, and there's a reason for it. Because bit by bit, the people will get there of their own volition. They will realize this is what we now must be as a people, as individuals. And so it's this large, complex operation, fascinatingly being executed. But it's reverse, as I said, just to finish off. Instead of having the soldiers shoot each other, let's take out the leadership and then track it down. There are some last kinetic effects, because when people say, oh, we've won the war, we have. We, the people of the earth, have won the war. Well, why are they still shooting? Because we've got a few dirtbags still with capabilities we get rid of. But in terms of control of the planet, in the largest sense, it's good.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean there aren't still rats in the corner of the room that have to be taken out.
Hello, Patriots. I'm at Restored Republic via a GCR update compiled by Judy Byington.
What we thought we knew, but didn't really know and now are supposed to know, but don't have a clue. With clones, doubles, made-up movies, Hollywood style, and Trump's military alliance throwing more popcorn at us, it gets so confusing. Members of our own government, the CIA, DHS, CISA, the EAC have all been compliant in stealing elections for at least 15 to 20 years, not just here in the United States, but around the world. The Democrat Party has been found working with foreign countries such as Venezuela and the Chinese Communist Party to create fake ballots, allowing election workers to run the same stacks of ballots through machines over and over, with no observers present. We have multiple states and counties destroying evidence, no chain of custody documents, counterfeit ballots, dead people voting, 120% voter turnouts, IP addresses from outside the country confirmed communicating with our election machines, Dominion election machines that automatically turned Trump votes to Biden. President Trump. Barack Obama was running a shadow government and purposely kept election fraud-related evidence away from him. Obama ordered burned bags containing evidence to be destroyed. CNN admitted that media executives made a decision behind closed doors to censor President Trump's bombshell election integrity address, which exposes Chinese involvement in our elections. Some network executives felt it would be dangerous to just air Trump's speech live, in full, unedited. That's where we are in America. Right now, the Senate is holding an anti-taxpayer fraud meeting with Nick Shirley and James O'Keefe, and stunning new footage shows every single Democrat seat is empty. 100% of Democrats on the committee were invited. 0% showed UP. Julian Assange on the deep state global elites and creating war. The objective is to extract money from the US and Europe through Ukraine and return it to the hands of a transnational elite, globalist Agenda 2030. The goal is not to win any war, but to maintain permanent conflicts that feed that cycle of power. The objective is an endless war, not a successful war. They've paid $35 billion in fines in the last decade alone for falsifying science, defrauding regulators, and lying to doctors. Former Venezuelan intelligence chief Hugo Carvajal, now in U.S. custody, is reportedly cooperating with authorities, providing testimony on alleged narco-terrorism, espionage, criminal networks, and election interference. His claims, including allegations about Smartmatic, remain unproven and have not been established in court. Our entire national debt of $38 trillion truly is due to elites stealing our taxpayer dollars. Former Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development reveals how the U.S. government stole $50 trillion taxpayer dollars and used Jeffrey Epstein to launder it. Treasury Secretary Bob Rubin arranged Jeffrey Epstein's first visit to the Clinton White House in 1993, precisely as massive funds began disappearing from federal agencies, alleging Epstein ran the SWIFT system to launder the stolen trillions. Trillions vanished through undocumented adjustments at due end. HUD starting in the mid-90s, escalating to $21 trillion by 2017, matching the entire U.S. national debt then, plus $29 trillion in bailouts, totaling $50 trillion extracted, while taxpayers are forced to hold the central banking debt trap in the form of our national debt. 19 July 2026, breaking. GCR Intel Dossier Operation Sandman ACTIVATED. 100-plus nations move to challenge the dollar and accelerate a global currency reset. Supporters of the Operation Sandman narrative claim the world is entering one of the largest financial shifts in modern history. According to this perspective, more than 100 nations are coordinating efforts to reduce their dependence on the U.S. dollar, challenging the monetary system that has dominated global trade for decades. The central claim is that countries associated with BRICS, OPEC+, ASEAN, and several nations across Africa and South America are gradually moving away from the dollar in favor of alternative currencies and payment systems. Rather than military conflict, supporters describe this as an economic strategy designed to weaken the dollar's global dominance. Within this narrative, the petrodollar system is viewed as the foundation of America's financial influence. They argue that if major energy producers abandon dollar-based trade, global demand for U.S. currency could decline significantly, sending massive quantities of dollars back into financial markets and placing enormous pressure on the existing monetary system. Supporters believe this would trigger far-reaching consequences, including treasury markets freezing, U.S. government bonds rapidly losing value, foreign reserves reducing dollar holdings, major disruption across global financial markets, the collapse of what they describe as decades of debt-driven paper wealth. According to this viewpoint, the transition is not an accident but a deliberate restructuring of the global financial order, with countries seeking greater monetary independence and reduced reliance on Western financial institutions. The narrative also argues that President Donald Trump has been preparing a response aimed at protecting the U.S. economy should such a transition accelerate. Supporters claim the strategy could include restoring a gold-backed monetary system, developing a sovereign digital dollar independent of central banking institutions, reducing America's reliance on organizations such as the IMF, BIS, and WEF, implementing emergency economic measures if necessary to stabilize the country. Supporters describe these proposals as an effort to restore economic sovereignty and strengthen the nation's financial independence during a period of global uncertainty. Whether viewed as a coordinated geopolitical strategy or an emerging shift in international finance, advocates believe Operation Sandman represents the beginning of a much broader transformation. They argue the balance of economic power is changing, the role of the US dollar is being increasingly challenged, and the coming years could redefine how global trade, national wealth, and financial sovereignty operate. What we think we know as of Moan. 20 July 2026, Sun. 19 July 2026 from the White House Weekly Briefing, the biggest election interference revelation in American history. On July 16th, President Trump delivered a national address revealing newly declassified intelligence establishing that China, over a period of years beginning with the 2020 election cycle, stole 220 million U.S. voter files, names, addresses, phone numbers, party affiliations, and sensitive personal data sufficient to interfere at scale with American elections. The intelligence shows China assigned a dedicated data exploitation unit specifically to this operation. DHS separately confirmed that 275,000 non-citizens have been identified on voter rolls. The administration has published the full declassified intelligence at White House, gov/election integrity, and the DOJ has already accelerated its crackdown on non-citizen voting. NBC and ABC refuse to air presidential address, nation reacts. When President Trump addressed the nation Thursday night on this historic election security revelation, NBC and ABC refused to carry the broadcast. No other topic, no breaking news preemption. A deliberate choice to black out a sitting president speaking on a matter of national security. President Trump responded directly, saying the networks want to protect the radical left. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Crawford called it an elaborate cover-up. The question now before the country: should broadcast networks that operate on public airwaves face license consequences for refusing to carry a presidential address? Senator Markwayne Mullin has already announced an election security crackdown. Wed 15 July 2026 at 4:00 a.m. EST. Trump just signed Executive Order 2026-1947. Medbed technology had been declassified for civilian use. The pharmaceutical industry had 90 days to comply. The FDA is corrupt. Big Pharma is finished. The health freedom revolution is here. Trump is ending the pharmaceutical tyranny. July 14, 2026. Fortune magazine published a bombshell headline: "Trust in the FDA is collapsing." This is not opinion. This is fact. The FDA is dying. The pharmaceutical industry is crumbling. The people are awakening. The FDA corruption exposed. RFK Jr., now HHS Secretary, has publicly called the FDA corrupt. He has accused the agency of favoring industry over public health. For 70 years, the FDA has protected Big Pharma and lied to the American people. The FDA is not a health agency. The FDA is a pharmaceutical cartel protector. The vaccine fraud exposed. July 9, 2026, a nurse practitioner was fined $544,000. The pharmaceutical monopoly is broken. The FDA control is finished. The people are taking back their health. Trump is leading the revolution. Trump appointed RFK Jr. as HHS Secretary. Trump is dismantling the FDA. Trump is ending Big Pharma's control. Trump is forcing transparency. Trump is demanding accountability. Trump is liberating America from pharmaceutical slavery. The moment, this is the biggest health revolution in human history. This is the moment the FDA collapses. This is the moment Big Pharma dies. The people are awakening. The truth is being revealed. The system is being dismantled. Trust in the FDA is collapsing. The pharmaceutical industry is crumbling. Health freedom is rising. U.S. Patent 10,556,120. Filed 2017. Granted 2020. Title: Nervous System Manipulation BY Electromagnetic FIELDS from Monitors. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a United States patent, publicly searchable on the USPTO database, filed by Hendrikus G. Luz. Granted by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. The patent describes a method to manipulate the human nervous system remotely using pulsed electromagnetic fields emitted from television screens, computer monitors, and mobile devices. Read that again. A patented method to control your nervous system through the screen you are looking at right now. It is not the only one. U.S. Patent 6,506,148, Nervous System Manipulation by Electromagnetic Fields from Monitors. Granted 2003. U.S. Patent 6,238,333, Remote Magnetic Manipulation of Nervous Systems. Granted 2001. U.S. Patent 6,090,1994, Pulsative Manipulation of Nervous Systems. Granted 2000. U.S. Patent 5,159,703, Silent Subliminal Presentation System. Granted 1992. U.S. Patent 3,951,134, Apparatus and Method for Remotely Monitoring and Altering Brain Waves. Granted 1976. 6 patents, exposed, on public record, spanning 44 years of development, all describing technology to remotely influence, manipulate, or control the human nervous system through electromagnetic frequencies. They patented the weapon. Then they put a screen in every hand, every home, every pocket, every classroom, and they told you it was entertainment. The medbed does not just repair physical damage. It restores electromagnetic sovereignty. It recalibrates your nervous system to its natural baseline frequency, free from external manipulation. It clears the accumulated interference patterns stored in your neural tissue from decades of exposure. A healed body is important, but a sovereign nervous system, one that cannot be remotely influenced, is dangerous to those who built their control system on electromagnetic manipulation. This is why medbed technology is classified. Not because it heals, because it liberates. Every patent number listed above is searchable right now on Patents Google. Read the abstracts, then ask yourself what else that screen has been doing to you. That particles gain their mass not from themselves, but from their interaction with this invisible field that permeates all of reality. This is not fringe science. This is the standard model of physics, taught in every university on Earth, confirmed by the most expensive machine ever built, the Large Hadron Collider. Now connect the dots. If space is not empty, if it is filled with energy, then your body is not surrounded by nothing. It is immersed in an infinite ocean of energy at all times. Every cell in your body is bathing in it right now. 0-point energy. The energy that remains in a quantum system even at absolute zero temperature. It cannot be removed. It is the baseline energy of the universe itself, and it is everywhere, always. In 1948, Hendrik Casimir proved this energy is real by measuring the force it exerts between two metal plates. The Casimir effect, replicated thousands of times, not disputed by any physicist alive.